Anthony Cummings yesterday told us Hotel Grand, if it can come through this campaign, and Sydney will come straight to Melbourne for the Cox Plate. I'm not sure what Kenny and Richard think of that, but let's find out. Kenny?
Well, I think he's a very promising horse, Bruce, but so too is Tie the Knot's little brother, and his name's Dream Ballad. And I think you might see him running in a Group 1 race next Saturday in the Spring Champion Stakes, and then watch out for him in Melbourne. So plans ahoy for both horses. Richard, he's backed.
Number 1, Hotel Grand, has been very well backed here on track to...
As I said, of 25. Hotel Grand just bouncing around, racing. He's missed the start slightly, Hotel Grand. He was bouncing around when the starter let them go. And Dan Zippo goes up on the outside and will take the running up early from Delago Money. Hotel Grand starting to make ground in the centre of those now. Then came Beatmore, followed by Dream Ballad. Bosses easing him back off the speed into fifth spot. 3 lengths to Portland Spirit. Then came Nip the Tip, and on the inside of it is Dan Zippo assuming the role as pacemaker as they go down the back of the course. 1,300 to go. Hotel Grand has worked up to second now. It leads from Hotel Grand in second spot, a half a length away. Beatmore is next from Delago Money. Then came Dream Ballad. He's in a snooker on the inside at the moment. Nip the Tip's gone around the outside, and outside him is Portland Spirit, and then came back in behind them on the map as they bunch up coming around the turn, where the leader is Dan Zippo from Hotel Grand and Delago Money. He's now seeing some daylight on the favourite Dream Ballad. He's about 2.5 lengths off the lead as Hotel Grand goes up to Dan Zippo. Dream Ballad's coming after them quickly on the outside, but Hotel Grand pinched a little bit of a break. Here comes Dream Ballad out after him. It's Hotel Grand on the inside. He's a half in front. Dream Ballad is trying to peg him back. Hotel Grand is in front, but here comes Dream Ballad. He levels up on the outside, and I think he did better. I think Dream Ballad got there in the last bound to win it from Hotel Grand. Dan Zippo third in front of him on the map, and Portland Spirit, and then Nip Money.
2 very smart young colts. Dream Ballad might have got there in the last bound to Newcastle, but don't forget, Hotel Grand was a tiny tardy at the start and gave the other horse 3.5 kilos. So there was merit in both horses' performances. Look at the head-on. They only walked in. It's $1.60 and $1.04 for the winner, $1.10.
Glenn Boss getting the prize, $1.90 over the brave Hotel Grand, who gave it 3.5 kilos for J Forward, $3.20, and Dan Zip ran third, $17. Glenn Boss, I think, called himself the minister for rash statements about horses after this race, but let's hear what he said about this exciting 3-year-old.
Glenn, we saw an impressive run from Dream Ballad today. How'd it go?
Yeah, no, he's a horse on the upward spiral very quickly. He's gone from a maiden down at Goulburn to an ordinary class. 2
cracking colts there. Kenny, they are the real deal, but they run up against Pendragon next week, of course, in the Spring Champion Stakes.
Who do we back? I don't know. I really don't know. I think Hotel Grand's still right in there. He gave me 3.5 kilos, and it took Dream Ballad the whole straight to wear him down. I think Hotel Grand's certainly still in the mix. Dream Ballad improving quickly, but 3.5 kilos, big difference. And then you've got Pendragon. Like Pendragon sat 3 wide and toyed with them in the gloaming. He might do the same. I think it's going to be one hell of a race, and certainly worthy of a Group 1 mantle. I think they're 3 absolute top-class 3-year-olds.
And we might even see some of those.
Mate, he'll be a good horse.
2 outstanding colts.
Tactics will be here. Number 1, Paratroopers, $1.20 the tote. That is very skinny in the Stan Fox Stakes. It's a half point longer on track. Number 2, Denmark, it's just firmed a point, $9.90 is 3 points of value. Number 3, Primus, $6.30. Well, that's huge overs. Primus is 2.5-year-olds
are away. And Paratroopers has got his head in front. Beedman is driving him out of the stalls to lead. Primus is on his inside and he's trying to punch up and hold the inside running, but Beedman wants none of that. He's Paratroopers shooting for 4 straight. And if he wins today, he'll take his earnings to over $1 million. He's in front of Primus running second. On the inside is Testifiable. Denmark being niggered along now. He's about 1.5 lengths off the lead, maybe 2 lengths. And then the Jonker last of all. At the business end now, and Primus is going up to Paratroopers. They're both flat to the boards, but Paratroopers has got a better sprint. He kicked away from Primus at the 200. Testifiable is third, and then came Denmark. Primus is boring off the track, and Paratroopers has got him beaten, I'd say. He's over 1 length in front of Primus, and he makes it 4 straight. What a good colt. Paratroopers from Primus and Testifiable, and then Denmark, and last in was the Jonker.
Yeah, what a good young horse he is. 4 in a row to the Paratroopers, a gelding by
$16. He's versatile as well. Ken has been good.
He's very good. He's Group 1. He's the real deal. I think a lot of the other 3-year-olds are not the real deal. I think they're the B grade. I'm talking about Stratum. I think God's Own's in the B grade. I don't think he'd live with Paratroopers. I think Primus is probably around God's Own standard. I noticed I said to you last week, Primus for the Caulfield Guineas, he was about $21 then, mate. He's about $7 now.
We followed you in. That's what
we noticed that.
A trooper, he just knows where the winning post is, you know.
Well, Bossie's rated him the best 3-year-old in the country at the moment, and I think that's a pretty fair estimation at the moment. He's right up there. Nothing's stuck.
The George Main Stakes, and a pretty good field as usual. Every year there's a good field in the George Main. Richard, what about running through the tape? Iodane, R.M. Quinn.
Exactly right.
Nevis, D. Beedman. Exactly right, but the good money on track thus far has been for number 2, Mr. Celebrity. Number 1, Natural Blitz, $6.70 on the TA.
On the tote to Shania Dane is right on its price in the ring at 3. Racing in the George Main. Shania Dane jumped well. Dance Hero's immediately gone up to put its head in front at Outback Princess, rolling forward as well. Then came Nevis, followed by Battle Maiden. Mr. Celebrity is easing back. He's going to settle down third last. Natural Blitz. They're about to turn now towards the 600, and Dance Hero, his lead has been whittled down to a length now by Outback Prince. Then Shania Dane, who's pocketed on the inside at the moment. Nevis is coming up around the outside, 3 wide. Then came Battle Maiden, Mr. Celebrity getting on the back of Nevis, followed by Bally Blur, and last is Natural Blitz. He's holding Dance Hero together. He's trying to nurse him up the ride from Outback Prince. Shania Dane's waiting, and then came Nevis coming down the outside. Dance Hero flat now. Outback Prince has gone up to him. Nevis is struggling to reach him at the moment. Mr. Celebrity putting in the big ones on the outside. Outback Prince is in front. Shania Dane's getting room late. Outback Prince in front. Shania Dane's bursting through. And Mr. Celebrity on the outside. Mr. Celebrity dived, and I reckon he got up. I think Mr. Celebrity from a photo, Shania Dane and Outback Prince. And then came Nevis and Dance Hero, Bally Blur. Further back in behind them, Battle Maiden, and last in was Natural Blitz.
What a thriller in the Group 1. I think he's into the Epsom next week now. Number 2, Mr. Celebrity. Come late, but come hard. That's Shania Dane getting to Outback Prince. Here's Mr. Celebrity in the black and white, and right on the line, puts his head, and $2 the place for number 2. Number 6, $1.50. Number 4, $2.
Outback Prince at $8.50. Go ahead, Mr. Celebrity in Melbourne on Friday night for the Jayco Cup.
Well, what happened, Bruce, is that it was only 52 in the order of entry for the Epsom, and she wanted to get him into some good race. So she said, if I can't get in the Epsom, I'll set this program for the Caulfield Cup, run him at Moonee Valley on Friday night, then go towards Caulfield. But then she said, well, I know he's only got 51.5 in the Epsom, but why not take on these older horses that wait for age he's flying, or these other horses that wait for age, and he come out and won the prize.
Well, he's in the Epsom, he's favourite.
Outback Prince, but Mr. Celebrity was too good, and it drops a fair bit in the Epsom, does it not?
I think he drops 6.5 kilos, Graham. He's a very, very promising horse. I think anyone that saw the race...
And they've plumped for Flaming, the improver. Yeah, Jay Ford looking for a race-to-race double. Green Sun in a Flaming. Number 1, Oscar Warrior, $20, 10 points longer. Number 2, you can get a Flaming, $4.80. It's a half-point shorter. And the bottom one, Mystery...
Now, they stack up on the tote board at Randwick for the next due in 6 minutes.
Racing, Kablamo hesitated. Cincinnati Gals missed the start. And Messiah and Sportsman came out very quickly, and they lead. Oscar Warrior's under pressure. Flaming's going to be fairly wide early on. And Devils in the Bow Sun Tripper. Hennessy, Walt Saxon, Kablamo, 4 Valor. And Cincinnati Gal is last of all. These leaders have gone very hard. It's Messiah in front of Oscar Warrior as they enter the straight now. And then Devil on the outside of Sportsman, Flaming about 4 off the lead. And then Lord of the Land starting to make ground down the outside. Hennessy Waltz is coming as well. And Saxon was further back. Devil went up to take the lead at the 200, but here comes Flaming. It's making ground with every stride, and Flaming goes up and hits the lead and races away from Devil now. Then Messiah on the inside. Hennessy Waltz was further back, but it's Flaming in front, and Flaming wins another one. Beats Devil, who battled on gamely. Messiah in third, Hennessy Waltz fourth. Then Lord of the Land, Kablamo running on from Tripper.
Yep, Gay Waterhouse wins another one, wins the Bill Ritchie, and Bill Ritchie is one of the third turners. We'll pick them up in a minute. It was Messiah leading from Oscar Warrior.
Then Lord of the Land.
Flaming made it 6 wins from 8 starts for J4, terrific ride, and trained by Gay Waterhouse.
When they went over the line yesterday, I said that won't be winning the Epsom, but I love being on winners on the racecourse, horses that are in the habit of winning. And this horse, as I said, 8 starts for 6 wins, exactly the same record as Mr. Celebrity. That was his first. We won it.
Here, and we've got a very promising stayer heading the
market. Railings, I think you'll get the prize, Rich, but a bit better with bookies. Here's Richard with all the prices.
Number 1, the tough bugger, Careel Boy, $12.90 is spot on the mark. Number 2, Railings, $1.40 on the tote. Look, a little bit, about a quarter of a point longer on track. Number 3.
Barrier and Run Rita Run both missed the start, and they're well back. St. Alessio missed it about a half a length, and Crossbar is striding forward. And he'll go to the lead from Careel Boy. Imperial up on the outside. Came Crossbar. Railings on the inside of Run Rita Run. He's trying to come off the fence and Railings, and he pushed Run Rita Run out of the way. And then Don Raphael, Bohemian Dancer, break the barrier, and St. Alessio was last of all. Schroganay's coming around the corner very awkwardly, but he leads from Careel Boy, who's under pressure. And then came Crossbar. Imperial was next. Railings is 2 lengths away. And then came Run Rita Run. Schroganay in front of Crossbar. The favourite is pouncing on the outside now, Railings. He dashed to the lead. Run Rita Run is going after him on the outside, and Crossbar on the inside. Railings in front. He ducked in under pressure. Run Rita Run's pressurising him on the outside, but Railings is too good. He wins it from Run Rita Run. Crossbar 3rd, Don Raphael 4th, and then we've got Schroganay followed by Imperial, and then Bohemian runs and finished last.
Well, he had to pull out plenty, the favourite. Here's Darren Beedman, the style of a strong jockey in the black and white. And man to have...
Easily, $8.50. Favourite for the Metrop, Kenny, rightly so?
I don't know. I don't know if it was any better run than Run Rita Run. Probably...
One of the 4 Group 1s next week, and Railings will be our favourite here for Darren Beedman. Railings at $4.50 ahead of Zingham. Guy Walter, $5.50. Run Rita Run, $9. Just again, the Paratroopers the key here, but God's Own's favourite, Kenny, $4. Paratroopers, $5.50. Red Dazzler, $5.50. Primus, $7.50. Gonski, Dan Nicklick, right.
If Gonski wins next week in Melbourne, Crash Bang Wallop, you'll be favourite.
Okay. Crash Bang.
It was pretty impressive, wasn't it? Walter Swinburne on board then for Mike.
So you've had 1 or 2 hiccups during the season with your injury. How much would it mean to you to get back into the Group 1 winning mode for Godolphin?
3 is Rachty, the mount of Philip Robinson. Brilliant, explosive, temperamental, and won this race last year. With Starcraft, an Aussie import with unlimited potential. Christophe Lemaire riding is Prix de Moulin winner. And finally, number 6, Dubawi, winner of the Irish 1,000 guineas, a big winner at Deauville last month, and Frankie Dettori in the saddle.
Was deeply impressive in the Group 1 Prix de Moulin.
But Dubawi is the 6-4 favourite. Radke is 5-2 from 11-4. It's 7-2 Starcraft, 10-1 Mullins.
Ready, and they're racing. Blatant on the near side, jumps straight into the lead. White cap from Starcraft, who just dropped in behind. Sleeping Indian, the white jacket. Further back then, Rachty on the extreme left, and Mullins Bay. Looks like they might even split into 2 here. Rachty coming up the centre with Mullins Bay and Dubawi tracking the pair, and on the near side, Blatant from Sleeping Indian and Starcraft. Well, that just might throw a spanner in the works here, because halfway, Rachty, who went to post like a lamb today, is out in front, about 2 lengths to Mullins Bay, just being stoked along. 3 lengths away then is Dubawi tracking the pair. On the near side is Blatant from Starcraft, who's well up with him, and Sleeping Indian behind them, passing the 3. Race on in earnest now. That's Blatant flat to the board. Starcraft easing up on his outside with Sleeping Indian. Rachty out in the centre, being tackled by Mullins Bay, and Frankie's now coming over to the near side with Dubawi. But it's Starcraft who's gone for home now. Starcraft the first to strike for home. He pulls the whip Lemaire. Here's Dubawi on his outside from Blatant Sleeping Indian. Rachty starting to flounder out in the centre. Starcraft with a rail though is finding plenty. He's about a neck in front. Dubawi trying hard to wear him down. Starcraft sticking to his guns. The Aussie's too good. Starcraft wins the QE2. Dubawi second, Blatant third, Rachty fourth, followed by Sleeping Indian and Mullins Bay. Well, what a performance. He is very, very good. Starcraft, he had to do it. Dubawi.
I think there was real pride and pleasure in Jim's voice when he said, the Aussie's too good. What a monster of a horse. He towered over Dubawi. And in this...
Paul, what would you want to do with him now? I mean, you've conquered France, you've conquered England.
I only really want to win this race, to be honest. I came here to win this one.
Would you want to go to America with?
Maybe. What's America? I always ask the plane to fly faster when I go over it. What do I want to go there for?
Many congratulations. That was a superb performance. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Today he was saying that...
Dubawi second, the 6-4 favourite. Blatant the pacemaker, and such a...
So Starcraft takes Group 1 glory in England.
Rich, just put that in context for us.
Well, Starcraft at his last start beat the best milers in Europe, in France. I think it was a Prix Moulin or something, a name escapes me, Prix de Moulin. And in this race, the Queen Elizabeth, he meets the best milers in Europe and England and Ireland probably, and he's defeated them as well. He has gone to the top of the rankings of the milers probably worldwide. He's probably the top ranked miler in the world at the moment, Starcraft.
And Richard, Frankie Dettori was rather critical of his own ride on Duali, given the fact that he was told to come to the inside and actually get a little bit of cover back with Starcraft.
But he's gone to the top. He's worth millions now.
They were talking about taking him to Hong Kong later this year in December and possibly running him in a race there, and that may be on his way back to Australia to go to stud, who knows. But he is world class. He's proved it. Paul Macon said he was. He had a few teething troubles settling in Europe, but now that he's really acclimatised over there, he's a superstar.
Didn't think
that puts him now probably at the top of the rankings for turf milers in the world at the moment.
They didn't revise the ratings after the race because Blayton ran third in it. Right. And Blayton's not highly rated. That was the pacemaker that the Sheikh gave us to help us through the race. Yeah. And but they basically didn't re-rate the race, so we're about up there with them, though.
Okay. Were you confident? The trouble, just bring it in and shell.
Lovely,
something
beautiful.
like that. Yeah.
Now, Paul, what do you think now? You've
contact you in regard to the stud future?
I don't think there's one stud of any value that hasn't been in touch with me.
Would you sell him? How close is it then?
I would sell him if I could steal all the money off somebody.
Right.
But other than that, well, I've been offered 16 million for him, and I won't take that.
You've been offered 16 million,
yeah.
And you've knocked that back.
Yeah. But
what will you take?
But it is important to me that I keep him. You know, that he can keep him in Australia to a degree.
So is he for sale or not for sale?
He is for sale.
Would 20 buy him?
No, 20 wouldn't buy him.
No.
I don't need the money that much, Richard. You know, I'm going to do well whichever way I look at it. So I don't mind if I lost a few mil and I kept him for Australia, really.
Yeah. Richard doesn't need the money off him, as you say, Darren.
The Champion Stakes, what a beaut race it is. One of the great races on the calendar. 3-year-old classic, Richard the Tote Price. Dragon's been very well backed here. $2 on the TAB. It's about a half point longer, but just firmed up. A good deal here on track. Number 2, Power of Destiny. $14 is good overs. It's 5 points shorter on track. Number 3, Hotel Grand, $11.70. It's also big overs. It's 4 points shorter with the bookies. Manton, $5.80. That is comparable. Number 9, On the Map, Blake Shin, $56 is spot on the mark. Number 10, Line by Line, $107. You can double.
Pendragon was an impressive winner of the Gloaming Stakes and is the favourite here on course. Now the Hotel Grand is bouncing around, racing. He's begun better today, Hotel Grand. Replicator showing some speed, and Replicator and Hotel Grand, the stablemates, will both come across. Replicator will lead on settling down, Sculptor third on the inside. Then Manton and Jewel on the map. Pendragon's out 3 wide early on. From Jewel running second, Hotel Grand is 2 lengths away. It's on the outside of Sculptor. Manton's had a good run. Then on the map and Dream Ballad, followed by Pendragon is on the back of Dream Ballad. Then Power of Destiny on the inside from Bow Covered. And last of all is Line by Line. At the 600 metres, it's Replicator by about 1.5 lengths on Jewel. Then Hotel Grand on the outside of Sculptor on the rail. Then on the map and Manton further back behind them. Dream Ballad starting a run, followed by Bow Covered, and then came in behind them next Power of Destiny. Pendragon is still a long way back, and he's trying to push out into the clear. Replicator's the leader from Hotel Grand at the 200. Manton is running on, so is Dream Ballad, and Pendragon is coming with big strides down the outside, but Hotel Grand is off and gone. Hotel Grand raced away, and he's got the Spring Champion Stakes safely won. Hotel Grand is going on for a brilliant win. Pendragon got up for second just in front of Jewel, and then Replicator and Manton followed by Dream Ballad. Back behind them next was Power of Destiny on the map, and further back was Sculptor Bow Covered, and back last of all was Line by Line.
No excuses for anything else. No excuses whatsoever. Far too good. Number 3, Hotel Grand. Jay Ford for Anthony Cummings. He blew them away. Anthony has said all along, this fellow is a Group 1 horse. Make no mistake. He stood up and showed that today. Well ridden by Jay Ford.
Gave a big leg up for before the race. And I thought at 50 to 1 it was just about going to steal it, and all of a sudden Hotel Grand whoosh car.
Yeah, no, Replicator ran a great race, and I've got to say I started to chuckle at the top of the straight. I wasn't sure which one, but I knew one of them would.
Well, mate, the other one held on for fourth. The old man's got second. You've almost had the perfect 1, 2, 3. It's a fantastic result. A great ride to Jay.
Yeah, a very good result. Difficult situation in the barrier. He handled it very well. He conserved the horse, and the race worked out really well. So absolutely wrapped.
Okay.
And the race worked out really well. So absolutely wrapped.
Okay, go on. Here you'll see a class horse in the making, and his name is Hotel Grand. Into the straight.
One, and it's Hotel Grand this year. Chestnut Colt. He's a 3-year-old by Grand Lodge out of Terrestrial. He's owned by the back.
Well, is he off to the Cox Plate now and try and do what the 3-year-old Savabeel did last year? Hotel Grand winning for Jay Ford, the son of Grand Lodge.
Now running the Norman Robinson on Caulfield Cup Day and then running the Victoria Derby. I think whatever beats him in the Victoria Derby will win it. Nothing might beat him in the Victoria Derby. I think that Hotel Grand is a legitimate Cox Plate runner, a legitimate challenger from Makybe Diva. What impressed me about him is when he sprinted, he left the horses that were close to him and he picked up the leaders so easily. And the rank disappointment of the race, I thought, was Darren's Mount Manton. I thought he was...
Darren, you rode Measured off like you hoped.
Followed the right horse in the race, just a shade disappointing. I thought he might have sprinted and let down a little bit better than what he did, and the other horse just left him in his wake when he let go at top of the rise. But he's a really classy horse, this winner. Like, you just look at the way his head carriage, he sticks his neck out, he really wants to get to the line, and yeah, my bloke, I just would have liked him just to finish off probably a little bit better.
What about the jock, Jay Ford? Can you give us a rap for him?
He's riding really, really well, Jay. He's a good young kid.
But I'll turn it up if this winner's not a pretty good horse. His turn of foot sensation.
Would you run him in a Cox Plate?
Yes, I would. I thought more impressive than Savabeel winning this race last year, and he won the Cox Plate. Like, Makybe Diva looks to have the Cox Plate on a plate, but anything can happen. It's racing, you know. I'd say
Jay Ford, Anthony Cummings, Group 1 success for Anthony as well, so congratulations. Grand Lodge out of Terrestrial, Hotel Grand. Hotel Grand, you've been spreaking it.
I'm so wrapped in this horse. I think he's an absolute star of the future. Not only does he spread eagle this field, he did have the advantage of sitting up on top of a fairly leisurely pace. And Pendragon is, well, sort of like a stablemate, a father and son combination, you know, Anthony with Hotel Grand and Bart with Pendragon. He didn't have all the breaks in the race. He got back on a slow pace, which was a meritorious run nevertheless. But this horse, Hotel Grand, he looks like a superstar. He's got a beautiful liver chestnut coat. He's got that strong colour. He's got he's just put together beautifully. He sits on the pace. He over-raced a little bit at the moment, but I reckon he'll learn to settle down in his races, and he puts himself right in the box seat. I'm wrapped in him, Ron.
He's learning all the time. Every time he's raced, he's just shown that little bit more where he settles in a race, and he's settling a little better than what he was. He's jumping better now. You can use him to get across, and then he'll come back underneath. Look, he may well be a star of the future. Yeah. Who knows? Pendragon.
I think it's a better field than Savabeel beat last year, and I reckon this horse won in a more dominating fashion. I give him a chance in a Cox Plate.
It's going to be a real strong type of horse.
Dream Ballad was disappointing.
He's had enough, but look out for him next prep.
Okay, you were wrapping it.
All right, Rich, the Craven Plate is coming up. The Seppelts Wines Craven Plate. Mummify's favourite ahead of Studebaker. Number 1, Mummify, $2.06.
Natural Blitz goes in. They're off and racing. Wild Iris broke well. Beedman is driving Mummify out of the stalls. He's very keen to lead. So Assertive going up on the outside, but Mummify takes it up. Leads from So Mummify by about a neck now on So Assertive. Bush Honey continues on around the outside. Studebaker's had a lovely trail behind them on the fence, and Natural Blitz is in the middle. A couple of lengths to Wild Iris. Super Blitz being hard ridden from Bow, and Strasbourg is last of all. The leader is Mummify, being attacked by So Assertive on the outside. Bush Honey's had a tough run from the 1,200 metres. Natural Blitz and Studebaker are waiting for runs on the rail, and further back is Wild Iris coming around the outside. Mummify's under a lot of pressure here. So Assertive has put its head in front, and they're nicely clear from Wild Iris, who's starting to stretch out strongly. Here she comes, Wild Iris, and Natural Blitz is trying to go with her as well. Mummify fought on the inside, Wild Iris on the outside, Natural Blitz the centre. Mummify won't lie down. He's coming back on the inside. He's pulling out plenty for Beedman, and Mummify all the way wins it from Wild Iris and Natural Blitz, and then Strasbourg and Bush Honey from So Assertive, and then Super Blitz and Studebaker, and a long last was Bow.
Too strong.
Winning trainer, obviously, Lee Friedman, well assisted by his brother Anthony, and we just spoke.
Darren Beedman, Lee Friedman, $2.90 Wilder.
Question I want to ask, Bruce, is Darren, were you kidding coming up the rise, or did he just take a while to wind up?
I thought I was going to 600. Larry really put it to me halfway around the corner, and he started to eyeball me about 500 out, and I thought, oh, I'm gone here, because he just overworked a little bit mid-race.
Choice,
Just from here, Darren, talk us through it.
And here, it wasn't until he changed stride about the 220 that he really started to get momentum going again, and just a really tough, true weight for age type horse.
But on the line, he's away from them again, isn't he?
Yeah, he toughed it out, and you know, he'd be a great ride in the Yalumba next week.
Does he like this way of going?
Kenny, the Metropolitan, the favourite, equal favourite, Storm Hill and Railings, and there's been very good money for one right down the bottom. Number 18, Bandara, is $21 into 14.
Yeah, a lot of punters have got it in their minds here at Randwick that leaders are being favoured a little, and that is why Storm Hill will hold his place in the market.
I have, Kenny, too. Rita, run. Just keep on running, Rita. $6.20. It's 2 points longer. Square one, 156. And as I alluded...
And Crossbar only began fairly. Zingham's missed the start, and he's going back on Railings. He's going to ride the horse back behind midfield. And Above Deck landed in front, going through with Storm Hill. And Storm Hill takes the lead from Above Deck and Martuma. No Wine, No Song. Bandara's making ground. Crossbar's going forward as well, and Miles is fairly wide out of the... Miles forward. Then Kinjal and Run Rita Run, Dancing Daggers and Square One. Then came Don Raphael and Zingham. Railings is starting to edge forward 3 wide now. It's gone around the outside of Action Shot, and Devastating is last of all. It's Storm Hill in front. He leads by a half a length. In second spot, Bandara. Miles is already under the stick. And then came Crossbar, being hard-ridden. Men at Work is making its run, but it's about 6 deep. Above Deck is going through on the centre from Martoom. Run Rita Run coming around the outside from Break the Barrier. No Wine, No Song, Dancing Daggers. And Railings is still about midfield as they turn for home. 6 off the lead. Men at Work has sustained that run and dashed to the lead over the rise from Above Deck. Run Rita Run, and now Railings is launching on the outside. Men at Work's in front at the 200, but Railings is coming after him, and he's mowing him down with every bound, and Railings has dashed to the lead, and it's another Group 1 for Hawks and Beedman. Railings is too strong for them in the Metropolitan, wins it from Run Rita Run and Men at Work, and then came Kinjal and Don Raphael. Zingham was further back from Above Deck, and then No Wine, No Song, Dancing Daggers. Storm Hill didn't see it out.
So much for leaders. He came from last. Number 5, Railings. A credit to Johnny Hawks. Brilliant. Well, fantastic performance by Railings. Storm Hill made it a staying test, and the way this bloke won, watch out Melbourne. He'll be down there for the Cups, and he'll stay all day. Good on you. Rusty's down there with Peter Snowden. Rusty, take it away.
He's a very excited Peter Snowden.
Cup after winning the Metrop, $4.80 for John Hawkes, beating Run Rita Run again. They were 1-2. You saw Glenn take off at the 1200 metre mark. Were you tempted to go?
Well, when mine was to sort of give himself a chance for the first half of the race, and I seen Bossy 3 deep, and I thought, do I, don't I? And I thought, better off being patient. I could get him down the side, so I just elected to wait till the 1,000 and just improve gradually, where you got more of an option when they're going to race a bit wider. But yeah, he can really stay, this horse. Last week he drew 1 and probably rode him a little bit too pretty, and pace was a lot steadier the other day in the Colin Stephen, but today yesterday was a lot better.
Well, let's see what Darren said.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Probably the worst ride I've ever put in a Group 1 race for as long as I can remember. Pretty well slaughtered it. Simple as that.
Well, one thing about Glenn Boss, he gives him a rap when he deserves it, and he can put himself in the poo when he does things like that. Kenny, that's terrific from Glenn.
Yeah, good on him. He's an honest person. Bruce running it to try and then they get into the Spring Cups a bit light. They don't usually run in the Metro. They duck that. You take horses like Saintly, just beaten in an AJC Derby. Went to Melbourne, won the Cup the next spring with 56. Might and Power, an unlucky 4th in the Derby. Went to Melbourne and won the Cup with a penalty with 56. This horse ran a terrific race in the AJC Derby. He's got 51 in the Melbourne Cup, unless Greg Carpenter wants to give him more, and he'll stay all day. I think he's a genuine Cups horse.
Yeah, but Darren, are you going to ride him?
I think I've spoken to Hawksy about Dazelle, but
What are you riding in the Caulfield Cup?
I'm riding Dazelle in the Caulfield Cup.
Do you fear this horse in the Caulfield?
Men at Work was third. You have been spruiking Railings for an hour long.
Look, he's a real live candidate. He's got a sense of timing about him, this horse. He peaked on the peak yesterday in the Metrop, and still something left up the sleeve for the Cups, I'd suggest. He's a raw talent. His coach just come right, and the timing has just been perfect from John Hawkes with this horse. Run reach
for him. Rich Calate has been sensationally backed in the Epsom. It's less than each way odds and a clear second favourite. Number 1, Desert War, $11 on the tote, 3 points longer on track. Number 2, Outback on the mark. Bindings just firm 2 points, $9.40. You can get a couple of points longer on track. The 9's out. Number 10, Calate, been well backed, as Kenny alluded to. $4.90 on the tote for Calate, about a third of a point shorter on track. It's firmed a point and a half. Woodson, $49 is spot on the mark. Mr. Celebrity, $4 on the TAB, a little bit shorter on track, $3.90 there now, even just about 10 cents shorter with the bookies. Flaming, $37.
Let them go. They're racing a good dispatch. Utson jumped well from the inside. Lateria was ridden out of the stalls and goes to the lead from the stablemate Desert War. Flaming's up on the outside, so Gay's runners are 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Calate's going through as well, and Mr. Celebrity is also making ground. Utson now easy as midfield on the outside of Cincinnati Gal. Then came Consular, followed by Danny Martin and Binding. Johann's Toy and Ike Streamers last of all. Outback Prince has gone around the outside to challenge Lateria for the lead. And inside the 600 they come. Desert War is next, and Flaming has never been on the course, and Calata's right on the back of the speed. And then came Utson. Mr. Celebrity is making ground now 3 deep, and then came Perfect Promise into the straight. Outback Prince going up to Lateria and Desert War. He's in trouble getting a run on Calate. Flaming on the outside. Mr. Celebrity is a little bit one-paced at the moment. It's Desert War and Lateria kicking away. They're nicely clear. Desert War going for back-to-back wins in the race, and he's taken over from Lateria. Johann's Toy is starting to come strongly on the outside, but Desert War's in front. Another big mile for Gay. Desert War from either Johann's Toy or Lateria, then Mr. Celebrity, and further back was Perfect Promise, Ike Streen and Flaming Cincinnati Gal, and then Calate, who didn't come on with it, followed by Utson, and then came Binding, Danny Martin. Well back was Consular, and Outback Prince was wide all the way and finished last.
Well, 2 wins in a row in the Epsom Handicap to Desert War, ridden aggressively from the barrier by Larry City, and he's the first horse to win 2 Epsoms in a row since the mighty Super Duper Superimposed did it in 1990-91. This time the Guy Walter trained Johann's Toy, who ran second. They were the numbers 1, 14 and 5. The interim dividends, Russell.
$11.70 and $3.50 about number 1 Desert War.
Of course, Desert War, her 18th Group 1 mile win at Randwick. Extraordinary. Larry Cassidy, his 11th Group 1 mile victory on Desert War, $14, beating Johann's Toy. Terrific performance, Kathy. Had your chance?
Yeah.
Lenny Beasley finished third, $7. Darren finished fourth on Ike Stream. Had your chance?
Yeah. To a certain degree, they just went too slow up front, and the sectionals were against me, and when they sprinted at the 400, it was just all over. The horses that were 1-2 were going to run a drum.
Best ride on the race, do you think?
An aggressive ride, a good ride, and he had the horse underneath him that was too good and too strong.
Let's go. War, Caulfield Cup, Cox Plate, Lateria Cox Plate. Which way would you be heading?
I don't think Desert War went well enough in Melbourne on previous trips to be wanting to back him in Melbourne. Lateria, I think, had the soft lead, and it may have flattered her run. I'm not all that keen to back her in Melbourne. I thought Mr. Celebrity was a tiny bit one-paced, but looking for further, and I would be keen to back him in Melbourne. I think the Caulfield Cup might be his race. Calate just come too far too quick, and obviously something was wrong with him yesterday. He didn't race anywhere. If it would have been 6 furlongs, he'd have got beaten. I thought Darren's mare ran well. He summed it up perfectly that, you know...
One's his own. I think that's his 11th Group 1 over a mile, Larry, and he's a big, strong horse, isn't he? And he put himself into the right position. I thought Johann's Toy was terrific again. Her turn will come. She'll probably go to Melbourne. Guy will sneak out a race for her. Lateria, I just thought she was softened up a little, although they weren't going hard up front. She was just pestered by Outback Prince there. And Mr. Celebrity, on face value, a touch disappointing, but with a sprint home and getting put off balance in the straight, don't rule him out. Do not rule that horse out.
I'm a fan of...
Good Night Nurse. Let's get into the flight stakes, Rich. It's Group 1. The hot favourite is Nemesis. She's won the first 3 legs of the Princess Series. She's going for 4. Here are the prices.
Number 1, Fashions of Field, $4.60. That's spot on the mark. Number 2, $14 is spot on the mark. Gone! $102 is spot on the marks.
Racing in the flight stakes. And Meteor sprung out of the stalls. Regal Cheer is making ground at Astronomia, going through along the inside, but Regal Cheer will take a narrow lead from Astronomia. Meteor's up there in 3rd spot, just being shaded now by Gone, and Fashions of Field is also making ground. Nemesis is settling back off the speed. On here at the 800 metres. Regal Cheer by a half on Fashions of Field. Astronomia in the box seat on the inside of Sydney Owner, who's out facing the breeze. Gone's in the centre. And then Meteor, followed in behind them by Carry On Cutie, who's the best part of 4 deep. Then came At Ease. Nemesis starting to improve now on the back of a couple of runners. And then Texarkana, and last of all is Beauty Watch. As they make the bend, this will only be a sprint home, and it's Regal Cheer from Fashions of Field. And then came Sydney Owner, Carry On Cutie, and further back Astronomia trying to come away from the inside. Nemesis about 4 off the lead. It's Regal Cheer let down now from Fashions of Field, going up to issue the challenge. Nemesis making ground on the outside, but Fashions of Field has taken over from Regal Cheer. Nemesis is trying to peg them back, but Fashions of Field going well with 100 to go. Right down the outside, Beauty Watch, but Fashions of Field is going to turn the tables on them today. Fashions of Field wins it from either Beauty Watch, Nemesis or Astronomia. 3-way go for 2nd and 3rd. And then came Regal Cheer and Sydney Owner, Carry On Cutie. And then Meteor and Gone, At Ease, and last in was Texarkana.
Well, it was Fashions of Field's day today. Another win for Gay Waterhouse. Another group to collect on the Sydney City Lexus Flight Stakes. The numbers were 1, 6 and 2. $4.20 and $1.50 for Fashions of Field.
Capped off another Group 1 victory in the flight stakes for Danny Beasley, daughter of Reduced Choice. $4.20 beat Beauty Watch. Just or second was in Melbourne. This is Fashions of Field we're talking about. That was the Ascot Vale Stakes. Kenny, would you take Fashions of Field back to Melbourne for the spring?
Bruce, there's a lot of goals for the 3-year-old fillies. In Melbourne, Reweigh is set for the 1,000 guineas. Here they run in the Silver Shadow, then they run in the Furious, then they run in the T-Rose, and then their Group 1 at the end of it is at the end of 4 hard runs as the Flight Stakes. I'm a bit worried of all the Class Sydney fillies, Nemesis included, and she's probably the toughest of the 4. I think Beauty Watch, the horse that ran second, she's nice and fresh. She won. She's had 3 runs in, 2 of them in midweek class, and then she come out here down the outside, and gee, she hit the line terrific to run second. She might be the one to go on in Melbourne, and also Astronomia over near the rails with the white sleeves. I think she's a stayer.
Darren, were you surprised that a horse like Beauty Watch could run past you coming from behind you?
A little bit, yeah. Really, I'd just a drag.
It was a beauty, but all honest with this filly, she makes her own luck. They slowed the speed up front, and she's got too much acceleration. By gee, look out for this filly when she gets to Melbourne. Beauty Watch. She's a real Oaks filly, big, strong filly, only lightly raced, hasn't peaked yet. The right horse to take to Melbourne for Gay. There's no doubt about that. She'll stay all day. You keep a close eye on her. Nemesis. Now, it's the first time I've seen Nemesis pull. They slowed the speed, she got on the bit and over-raced. That shows you how slow they were going. Still merit in her performance, but whether John Hawkes continues on in Melbourne, maybe the guineas, the 1,000 guineas there, I'd suggest, and Astronomia's got ability.
Because I'm going to get Kenny to say the name of the race and tell me what number 7's called.
It's the Sydney Swans shorts, and the runner you're talking about is the Sam Sung a Song in the Sydney Swans shorts.
That'll do me, I need blinkers on. Number 1 here, Red Oog, 350, you can't do that, it's a lot shorter on track. It's been a very heavily backed favourite, Red Oog, and the new has been well backed. Fumble, $9 is comparable. Black Ink, $10 is comparable. Mustard, $52, it's 30.
A little bit of money for Black Ink.
$52, it's 30.
A little bit of money for Black Ink, number 14 here. It's firm 2 points late in betting, 10.70 on the tote. Just a touch shorter with bookmakers now. Racing in the last of the day. Sam Sung a Song drifting right back to the tail, and Snippet Sun was away well out wide. Showing speed as Poetic Paper, Lucky Nights up there, and Cataclysm and Dance the Waves are going through as well. But Snippet Sun will lead on the rail from very back. It's a fair way back on the inside. Black Ink's going past it from Proudly Aggro, Mustard, and 2 lengths to Sam Sung a Song. So the favourites are well back as they come up towards the bend. Snippet Sun highballing it in front. Gets away from Dance the Waves and Lucky Night. Cataclysm was next from Poetic Paper and Fumble and Romantic Lover. And then Max lengths. Tune in Paler. Red Oog's going up on the inside, spotting the leader 6 or 7 lengths. Snippet Sun in front. Down towards to 200. Glen Boss starts to get busy on him. Dance the Waves is running on, and Red Oog is starting to fly between runners. Fumble down the outside with Black Ink as well. Black Ink has hit the front out wide. Mustard down the outside. Red Oog along the inside, but the Queenslander Black Ink breaks away. Black Ink wins it from Mustard and Fumble, and then Red Oog and Dance the Waves, and then Proudly Aggro, and further back was Sam Sung a Song, Poetic Paper.
The Brisbane Mail was right. The Queensland Sprinter's pretty good horse. 16 starts for 8 wins, a 50% winning record. Number 14, Black Ink, Matty Carl.
Whether Les has had a winner at Randwick before, Les, you tell me.
No, this is the first one. Her Devil last week ran second in Bill Ritchie.
Like that, worth 170,000.
Okay, Rusty, and if you backed him, we're going to show you the side on and get you excited again. Look at Snippet.
At $9. What was it like?
On the Tuesday that he's also run a big race, and he's got a pretty good meal ticket here.
Okay, well,
Bruce, they won plenty on it.
There's no fluke about the win.
No, it was a huge firmer in Tab Fixed Odds, and I think it nearly put Tab Fixed Odds out of business.
All right, well, that's Les Kelly. Horse has had 16 starts now for 8 wins, so good performance there by Les Kelly's trained Black Ink, and I saw plenty of
promising horse, and the Queenslanders got the lot in the shorts. 50s into 8s fixed odds. Black Ink, good on them.
And Mirror for Racing Review. Race 1 yesterday was the Maribyrnong Trial Stakes for the 2-year-olds. Well, they jumped out of trees. They still got trees at Flemington for this one. I got chills.
Ahead of the others by moving forward now Ingebrek. Then came Wider Out Zugat, a length and a half further back. Then came Promiscuous. Well back was Our 8, followed down the outside there by Maybury. Outside Rail and Raylene led from I Got Chills going out after it. 2 or 3 further back Bingham, and then came Star Jester. Well back in the race Ingebrek and also Publishing. On the outside Rail, I Got Chills has hit the front and has burst clear now. The plunge is home, I'd say. Race 4 lengths Raylene and Bingham. Over on the inside, Accurate Gun in front over there. Followed further back by Zugat and Nadeem, but I Got Chills is going to canter home, and I Got Chills a brilliant winner by 5 lengths. Second is Bingham, third to the inside Accurate Gun, then Nadeem and further.
$45,000 yearling. I Got Chills took a lot more than that out of the ring for Reese McLeod. David Hayes, $14 into $5. Bingham had trialled, $7.50. Accurate Gun had trialled, $6. I Got Chills hadn't, and punters were happy to take any price. Let's hear from top bookie Simon Beasley.
Well, look, I mean, it was an enormous plunge. You know, we put up $14, the bookmakers, obviously the wrong price, and then we sort of got the smart money came to us at $14, and then it was really non-stop, you know, the traffic. They backed it sort of $10, $8, $6. I thought they were taking under the odds in the end, but just shows what fools we are.
David, were you surprised at the plunge?
Not really, because she's worked every bit as good as the Readout's Choice, and she was huge overs, you know, like at $17 she should never have been that. I wish it didn't plunge in quite as quickly as it did, but it was a bit sensational, but I think she's quite sensational, more importantly.
So you're saying you missed the plunge?
No, I'm not saying, no, look, I had a little bet on the colt and a little bet on her, so I'm very happy. But the most important thing for me... And
David was hiding the smile on his face there, knowing he'd been on at the $14, Steve. But this is a bugbear of yours and mine, this non-trialling in public of 2-year-olds. And it was utter nonsense yesterday that we didn't have that.
Well, it's a farce. David said she shouldn't have been those odds.
Well,
on what basis could anyone make a judgment about what odds she should have been? It is a nonsense. Look, you've covered it earlier with Ken. We don't need to go on. But if administration in Victoria doesn't do something about this within, I'll give them 2 months.
Yep, I agree with you, Steve. It's programming, and you've only got
integrity. That's the argument we get thrown up against licensing of exchanges. This is integrity. There's none of it. I mean, some people had the... Mick Horse opened up very short in the ring. Has eased out. Any concern to you, the betting fluctuations here?
None whatsoever, Bruce. I don't get involved. Just a bit worried about these small fields and...
Written the lead up. For Gonski, which is in from 860, yeah, about 860, 750. Into race number 2 today. They're off this time, perfectly ready on the inside, jump quickly. Silent Echo went back after the start. Third letter R and Gonski in the blue colours showing great speed from the outside. Gonski trying to head off third letter R, who's pushing up inside it. And Gonski will finally get the lead. Work there to get there from third letter R. 700 from home up to the turn. Just an easy tempo. They've relaxed it a little, about 11.47 1,000 to the 800. And Gonski is about a half length in front of Diamonds on the inside. Then for
Ferocity coming out. The black with the white cap outside and the yellow-blue cap is perfectly ready. Back on the fence, third letter R as they straighten up and go down inside the 400. Gonski by 2 to Ferocity. Perfectly ready's a mile back, about 5 lengths off them, and Silent Echo's got past it. Third letter R struggling. Ferocity going up to Gonski. 2 lengths into Perfectly Ready and Silent Echo. Gonski at the 150, still 2 in front. It's going well. Silent Echo back to the fence. Ferocity and Perfectly Ready. They won't get Gonski. Gonski all the way. The Sydney Galloper by 2 lengths. Perfectly Ready second. Ahead third is Ferocity. Fourth Silent Echo. A gap then to Diamonds on the inside. A long gap to third letter R. And De Beers is last of all.
Steve, would you be getting off Gonski?
Oh, off Red Dazzler for Ryan Gonski. Tough call. Everything fell into place yesterday. 48.6 first 800 is pretty easy for this class of 3-year-old at this time of the year. He's travelling very comfortably there, Simon. Perfectly Ready, Kingy out the back, and he was very grinding. Perfectly Ready, wasn't he? He didn't really pick up at any point.
The last furlong, though, he ran 11.63. The winner's 11.78. It's only when he got balanced the last bit was impressive, I thought, for Perfectly Ready.
Look, we had a look at this Colt get beat in Sydney last start when he gave up the lead and got back behind him. He got it all wrong. We said then, on that occasion, wait till he gets to an open track over the 14 or the 1,600 metres. He's a son of Danehill. He's still a bit raw and learning what it's all about.
OK, the Manifold Totes. Izanami will be favourite at $4.10, $7.80. Number 1 is Izanami at $4.10. Kayambi for David Hayes at $9.50. Chetwynd South for Jim Conlon, who's got runners here in the Metropolitan at $8.30. Bodacious Harmony, $13.60. Good second as we go over the page. Serenade Rose for Lee Friedman at $15.60. He's won 6 of these, Lee, and he's got Empress Lily at $8.10. Richard Ling.
They're off on the Edward Manifold. Left in a good line too. Gabrielli bounced quickly. Out fast Pine Zero looking for the lead. And when they settle into stride on the outside of those coming over is Whippersnipper, and further out now Lamani and Serenade Rose. When they settle down, Pine Zero led Serenade Rose. Lamani had to ease and got onto some heels around at Bodacious Harmony. Gabrielli over on the fence, and there's Hilfer taking off around the outside. It's on the outside, coming down the side now by Kayambi, who got back. Empress Lily in front of it. They're followed further back on the inside by Whippersnipper. Chetwynd South. In front of it is Anami coming up towards the turn from Mary Sunday. Mary Marvel, I should say, on 2 or 3 lengths last of all. Coming around the turn is Zaria. On the bend, Pine Zero from Bodacious Harmony. Serenade Rose. Lamani 3 out. Tavalla 4 wide. Coming around the turn, followed further back when they turn for home. Right off the track by Chetwynd South. Kayambi trying to get out into the home straight from Flora Danica. In the straight, Serenade Rose goes to Pine Zero. To Lamani. Down in Izanami is getting out. Down the middle is Empress Lily, and wider out Chetwynd South and Kayambi. And then further back at the head of the other Zaria. But it's Serenade Rose hitting the front of the 200-metre mark. Empress Lily starting to pack it back. Here she comes now. Empress Lily going after Serenade Rose. The stablemates are fighting it out. Serenade Rose in front of Empress Lily. Serenade Rose hangs on. Wins it a half neck to Empress Lily. 2 away third. It's either Kayambi or Mary Marvel. Then a gap to Izanami, and further back then came at the Harmony. And one of the tail enders was Flora Danica back probably just off midfield. But Serenade Rose has won. Number 10 after getting a good run on the speed.
Outstanding performance by Lee, not only making a 70. Quinell at the race. Outstanding ride by Stephen King on Serenade Rose. This gives Lee Friedman this race, joining Special Harmony, Alingi and Co, Yukachaka, Rose of Daniel, Love of Mary Azuro. Stephen King again, $13 beat. Well, Lee's mismastered this fillies race, hasn't he?
He certainly has, as you mentioned, 7 times. Stephen King was aboard one of those in Rose of Danehill. And Stephen's probably been the beneficiary of Ollie's injury this spring. You'd imagine that Ollie must from Lee Friedman to win this race for the 7th time, and I think the runner-up, Empress Lily, might be the one.
Okay, well, let's listen to this.
Winners of the race, so he's got a knack of getting them right for this race. It was a race dominated basically on the pace there. I mean, Serenade Rose sat outside the leader the entire journey. Empress Lily back about midfield and got a good run through them, and she may be the one to follow as the races get longer, Empress Lily, because she's
the Oaks filly?
I think she might.
The A grader, is she?
I think
is she the A grader?
I think she might be.
Well, that was a Sydney B grader just charging in the 3rd spot there.
Yeah, but it has improved when it got down there, and you know what?
Let's have a look at the next in Melbourne. It's the Jayco for the mares, $250,000 Group 2. Ballet Society at $5.30. Some great mares races out there through the spring, and this is one of them. Yep. Sky Cuddle at $6. She won the Emirates on the final day of the Carnival. Cat Scan loves a fast track, gets it today at $6.80, and so does Lyrical Bid at $8.60 down to King.
Slow away, Sarah Michelle and Diamond Haley went straight back with Timberina. Ballet Society, Provence and Taken and Day bounced quickly from Sky Cuddle settling down. Then Candy Vale just off them, followed by Cat Scan, Brenda Bella Aspas, who's over along the inside, followed by Hidden Strings outside it. 2 lengths to Sky Cuddle on the outside of it, Day. They're followed further back by Brenda Bella as they come up the side, 1.5 lengths to Infinite Grace. Over on the inside, Candy Vale at the 750 metre mark and Taken 1/2 in front of Ballet Society from Provence. Hidden Strings and Brenda Bella's gone up out wide with Cat Scan. Sarah Michelle off the track. Astrodame behind those, followed by Day. Sky Cuddle just behind the leaders. Further back on the rail is Candy Vale, followed further back by Diamond Haley and Lyrical Bid trying to get a run up in the middle. Ballet Society, Hidden Strings going up to Taken. Day joining in quickly and further out is Astrodame. Sky Cuddle trying to get out, so too is Candy Vale. Then Lyrical Bid from Sarah Michelle. Inside the 200, Day hit the front now. Up on the inside goes Sky Cuddle. Sky Cuddle's got Today. Sky Cuddle going home better. Sky Cuddle, a 1/2 length Day. Third is either Hidden Strings or Astrodame from Lyrical Bid. Further out on the track then came Cinque Cento. Candy Vale just behind those. Hidden
of this race, the Jayco this year for the first time run at Group 2 level. It's been a terrific race over the year. Terrific ride by Luke Nolan on the Peter Moody train. Sky Cuddle, $4.60 favourite. Beat Day, brave. Steve, she's a good mare, wet or dry, and she runs in the Toorak next week.
She certainly is. We saw her win the Group 1 Emirates at Flemington during the spring from Barrier 2. Barrier 2 yesterday, run of the race, and really $5. It's, easy to say now, but coming off that performance in the Group 1 race at Caulfield, where she ran third to barely a moment, and the Hong Kong Visitor Super Kid with a space to the, which we pointed out that morning, that big margin from third to fourth, I think barely a moment in Super Kid, they'll just further confirm that form.
Well, let's hear from
Campbell Stakes. Look, I'm with you. I think he's not out of the Cox Plate. But we've got a mix here of Caulfield Cup, Cox Plate and Melbourne Cup horses, haven't we? I mean, this is the race of the spring. It's a sensational field. Plastered at 670. Sedex's big odds for a horse in form at 19. Ladder the Manor at 790. Confectioner at 730. The mighty one and only Makybe Diva at $2.60. If she wins today, she goes past, or runs second, she goes past Northerly, second only to Sunline in the stakes winners in Australasia. First Charter and Frightening, both at very big odds over the page. Count Ricardo struggling for form. Vouvray, a big chance in the Cups at $13.
There's been very good money for it, very good money for Plastered. Makybe Diva's been back strongly at $3.10. We've laid a couple of big bets against Dazelle and seized that's a tad, so we're hoping for a split against mate, but it's very good betting down here.
Racing. Left at a good line, although Confectioner a little bit slow to get going and dropped out with Makybe Diva after the start. And Frightening began well and going with it also in the early point is Grey Song, Ladder the Manor and First Charter. It's pushing up on the inside and First Charter and Ladder the Manor land in front. Grey's deep. 2 lengths to Stella Grand. They're followed by Dazelle. Further back in the race to Merger, 1.5 lengths into Portland Singer. 2 further back Vouvray, followed by Makybe Diva. She's about 12, 13 lengths from the lead from Rise On. Then came Gazelle. And Confectioner is last of all. Coming up the side now, they're racing towards the 850 metre mark, and it's First Charter by 2 lengths. Grey Song is now second off the fence. Ladder the Manor is pushed out 3 deep. 1.5 lengths further back in the race, then Sir Dex, followed by Frightening. Then came Stella Grand. Further back, then came Plastered. As they come up to the turn, Makybe Diva is coming to the outside. She's about 8 to 9 lengths off them. Behind her is Confectioner. On the turn, First Charter hard ridden. Grey Song has gone to it quickly. Further out is Ladder the Manor, Sir Dex, Stella Grand just a tad. They're followed behind those by Demerger. Then came Dazelle trying to get out. Down the outside, Makybe Diva, she's winding up. And Confectioner going with her at the 250 metre mark. And here's the great mare, Makybe Diva. Ladder the Manor pushing through on the inside from Sir Dex. Then Confectioner. But the champion has hit the front, Makybe Diva. What a superstar. She's holding Ladder the Manor. And Makybe Diva does it easily. A 1/2 length to Ladder the Manor. Ahead away, third Confectioner. Then Sir Dex further back Plastered, followed on the inside by Demerger, back behind those Portland Singer. A gap to Frightening, then Dazelle. She's just a tad. Back behind is Rise On. Mighty mare. She's done it easily. Number 6, Makybe Diva. A soft win. She has ranged up to them. And I just win. She has ranged up to them. And I just don't know how you beat her. I don't know how you beat her. She just does it and does it on her ear. When she ranged up, she's...
Oh, we were a bit worried there, not a barrier 19, slow pace and everything, but as I said the other day, whatever we say doesn't matter. She just proves us wrong time and time again.
I think here it's Cox Plate, it's Melbourne Cup. I'm not too sure, but how did she feel underneath you?
Well, it's been a long time, I think, since I've had a feel since the great mare Let's All Open. I think this mare's just as good as she's got the great acceleration.
Well, she takes her earnings to past $9.5 million only. Sunline's one more, and it won't be there for long. Makybe Diva, Stephen King, $3, beating Lad of the Manor. Brian Johns, honest again, $7.50. Confectioner, outstanding. Craig Williams, $5.50. But all honours, Steve, with Makybe Diva.
Certainly the case, Bruce. I don't think too many of us would have expected that Confectioner would be behind Makybe Diva in the run. So his performance was first rate also. They did finish in pretty much of a bunch. The speed wasn't solid early. I think 1:2.7 first 1,000 home in 58.8. There were lots of good runs in the race, and whilst I'm sometimes a little suspicious about the form when they finish in a pack, there'll be a lot of winners come out of this race.
Well, let's hear what Stephen King did.
Stay with this mare, who is a phenomenon. People are going to be talking about her for many years to come. There'll be even a movie made about this mare, Steve, I'll tell you, because she is that good. She won a Benalla Maiden, would you believe it, 3 years ago. There she is on the outside in the blue colours. And her turn of foot this time in is phenomenal. She won first up over 1,400 metres, just got beat over the 1,600 metres second up at Moonee Valley. She goes to Flemington here, folks, and this is Weight for Age at its best. That's Lad of the Manor in front there with the white bandages on. It just did over-race a little bit. You heard Brian Johns say that. Sir Dex battled away really good. He drops 4 kilos into the Caulfield Cup. He's on target. And Confectioner, well, he buggered the start. He had to sit back and follow Makybe through then. But she is an absolute phenomenon. Dazelle.
Third and some other runs that we just pointed out there, including Dazelle, which was in all sorts of bother.
Yeah, she had no luck, Dazelle. I think she had plenty to offer too. Look, she's a fantastic mare. Look, she's a champion. She's an absolute champion. And went past Northerly and stakes money. Yeah. Coming up to 10 million, isn't she?
Yeah. But I think enough's been said about her. You know, what can you say? She's almost in a class of her own. She's greatness. Yeah. Now, you just witness greatness there.
The situation is
poor Confectioner having to think that he's going to run past Makybe Diva. Absolutely no hope. I thought Dizelle, look, even though it got beaten as far as it did, I've actually said it couldn't win a Caulfield Cup. I'm going to retract that statement because it is right on target. I hope it doesn't draw. Getting an easy run in the early stages of it. Plastered is going okay. And
couple there. Well, Dazelle, jury's still out for me. I wasn't as wrapped in the run as
never
you were.
Got a crack at it.
And Portland Singer, a good a mare as she is and as honest as she is, I don't think she's got the class to win either a Caulfield or a Melbourne Cup, but certainly could win a Moonee Valley Cup or something similar.
What about the other horse, Confectioner? You said it was gone last week.
He's a cream puff for mine. I mean, I don't mean to offend his owners and that, but
he just has.
Whenever things don't go his way, he doesn't win. Right? He just wins when things fall into place for him, and it doesn't.
Gilgai Stakes, 1,200 metres. Here we have a Group 3 event. Bruce with the toppy here, Yell. At big odds, let's have a look and see where our favourite is.
Yeah, well, the favourite's right down the bottom, number 16, Barrage de Fortune. It has been easy.
There's still been money coming in for the favourite. The two horses that appear to have been well backed have been Foreplay and also Glamour Puss, Simon.
Yeah, certainly. The money came from Foreplay. Very strong go. The 5-1. It's been a terrific go. Look, the favourite, Barrage de Fortune's got out from $2.70 to $3.80. We're prepared to risk her. We think she's a very good risk in this race, so we've given the punters $4 at this stage. Most of the others going for us a little bit of money for Glamour Puss and a touch of money for Falkirk, but that's about it at this stage.
Already, Foreplay well supported. They're off. Jumped away in a good line. Falkirk out wide, Glamour Puss fast out. Barrage de Fortune came out like a bomb, going straight across to the outside with Roman Arch. Cochinero also inside. It's Falkirk on the outside with Barrage de Fortune hard up against the fence. Glamour Puss in third position from Cochinero. Back near the inside of those is Foreplay from Blessem, Recapitalise and Roman Arch. Back to the inside. General Baton in front of Brannigan. 2 lengths away, Yell Sonic Peak rode the Royals. They're down by the 250. Falkirk the leader on the outside. Barrage de Fortune gone. Back to the fence. Brannigan in front. General Baton coming at Brannigan, but it's Falkirk on the outside rail. Falkirk in front of Glamour Puss and Recapitalise. Falkirk is clear and he's got it all parcelled up 50 metres out. He was second last year. He's the big time winner this year, and Falkirk has beaten Glamour Puss and Recapitalise. They were followed by Cochinero, Brannigan, Foreplay behind the last home. No, there's one more. Bless them about 7 or 8 lengths away. Well, he did a good job at the Valley. Falkirk found the
3-year-old, and he tipped Falkirk is his best bet of the day at Flemington. Hats off to you, Terry Bailey, the winner of the Gilgai Stakes, number 4 Falkirk, $23.40 and $6.70.
Falkirk's penalised $9, and punters are in for a big win here, Steve, with foreplay.
Yes, interesting race. The first 6 all returned good performances. Foreplay was probably a touch disappointing as it turned out. Bless and bled.
Titanic getting blown out of proportion. But anyway, Falkirk, he's a great horse. Great training performance here by Lee Friedman too. Horse wasn't 100% to his first up run, and then he stepped out down the straight here at Flemington. Look, he just spaced him, didn't he? He'd capitalised around.
Well, Makybe Diva's into $2.25 for the Cox Plate, but the big firmer yesterday also came from across the Tasman. Excellent train by Mike Moroney. This is for the Cox Plate. This is winning the Capital Stakes thanks to TVNZ and also Trackside.
They're off and racing. Waitoki Dream, a little bit slow to begin, has got back. Distinctly Secret goes back. Excellent has gone back as well. Marufati came away quickly. Shinzig straight up onto the speed. Magnetism right there. Mandela. And up, but has a card up into the race. Back behind these, Distinctly Secret Envoy. And Excellent, he was last in the kill to the 800 metres and 13 to 14 lengths off them as they come down the side of the course. Marufati still in front. Shinzig travels well second. Right on these runners then is Irish Rover over on the inside. Mandela, Magnetism's going forward. He's got a lap full of horse. Then Belmue's close enough. Last year's winner as they come to the home corner. Cedar Manalilican behind these runners. Distinctly Secret is forcing the favourite off the track. Excellent as they swing and go, and he got carted sideways. They run to the 300. Shinzig hit the lead. Here he comes, Excellent. He's ranged up to them quickly. Excellent race to the lead in the kilt. 2 in front of Distinctly Secret. He's trying to gun him down. Excellent's holding 2 lengths. Distinctly Secret is trying very hard. Then Envoy the last little bit. He is amazing, all right, down to the line. Excellent, unbeaten New Zealand. 4 Group 1s from 6 starts here. Second over has been Distinctly Secret. Then we had Waitoki.
Mike Moroney, Paul Moroney, he was expected to win, so always a bit of pressure on. Just a relief to have it out of the way. Never confirmed how good he is again, Mike.
Yeah, certainly. Look, get these horses at a short price like that, and we all know how good he is, but we know he's a back marker and he's on the luck. And yeah, just at a couple of moments there where I thought he was getting a bit too far off them, but I know he's going to turn a foot, and he picked it up quicker than I thought he would.
Well, you can see.
Bring a new picture to the Cox Plate. We know Ladder of the Manor, unbeaten at Moonee Valley. You know where he's going to be in the run. Now we know where Makybe Diva and Excellent are going to be.
Well, he's got the turn of foot. I think he's an outstanding horse. Your only worry would be...
Take us through here too, Simon.
Yeah, well, that's Distinctly Secret, just getting on his flanks there and turning his hindquarters outwards.
What's the name of that horse? Distinctly Secret.
Yeah.
Steve?
Yeah,
we've seen him a few times, haven't we?
I think he voted the election last year, he's that old. But look, he's a very classy horse, Bruce, because at this track here, it's a tight turning track. He had to stake him up at the 800 metres. There wasn't a horse to get on the back of to cart him into the top of the straight. He didn't.
Are you convinced, Steve?
No, I'm not convinced, because I don't think Fields of Omar and Ladder of the Manor are going to come back to him like a Marufati. You know, there's that much more depth. But I think he's a genuine horse. Not sure about the Cox Plate. Distinctly Secret, well, he's been a terrific horse, but he's a 50 to 1 chance in the Cox Plate. Distinctly Secret.
I think Excellent's a Melbourne Dream.
Now, be careful of this. Right? This horse is a... I'm telling you.
I know why.
This horse is a very, very good horse.
Makybe Diva want to be careful.
This horse is a very good horse. Let me say that first off. I think he's an excellent horse, but... to coin a pun, but... Marufati set a pace that was killer. He was on a loose rein. He had a loop in the reins, bolting along in front, and that had set it up for the 2 from the back. Now, the second horse got knocked over on the corner. If he'd have got a clean run inside, Excellent, would have probably gone with him and may even have beaten him, and that was Distinctly Secret. Now, we know him well over here. So, you know, all the competitors of Excellent in the races coming up will try and find a reason to detract from the win, and they're the reasons. Other than that, the horse is a very good horse. He's won, what, 4 Group 1s from 6 starts. Yeah. He'll give them a good run for their money over here, but I don't have him like they've got him over the top. You know, the greatest horse ever been seen. They are pork pie Group 1s over there, so just, you know, be careful.
The track yesterday, Richard, was very, very firm. He sprinted up very quickly. Michael Moroney.
In Japan, when he ran favourite, was given a pretty ordinary ride, and he was beaten as favourite in the Hong Kong Mile. But he's there as favourite today with number 13, Silent Witness. There's Cape of Good Hope on screen now, as you see here. Japan, 10 minutes away. Favourite, we're all keen to see Silent Witness's return to the racetrack. And then the Silent Witness, they're the two which have been singled out by the punters in Japan. That
Way in racing, Keeneland Swan was one of the earliest to begin. As expected, Carlston Lato fired out of the gates, as did Gallant Arrow from barrier 16. Getting across quickly is Silent Witness to try and get the set on these leaders. Up on the inside is TM Chudas and Maya Max, back to Talamo Hot Play. Then Ricky O'Taikun to Randall, second last, and last of all is Golden Rodrigo. They get to the 400-metre mark. Leading the way is Carlston Lato. Narrowly taking on now by moving up quickly is Marika Koseki. There's Silent Witness running third, poised to pounce. Out even wider running on now Marika Koseki. Back on the fence is Gallant Arrow. Here comes Silent Witness at the 200. He's putting in the big ones. Gets to Carlston Lato. Goes past Carlston Lato. Here comes running on Bella's Marika Koseki. It's quickly it's Silent Witness. Silent Durandal getting home late. Silent Witness. Durandal second. Tier back to Maya Max. Back on the fence was Marika Koseki. Then further back to Talamo Hot Play, who ran on Ricky Golden Rodrigo, but the champ has done it. Got to the 200-metre mark, powered past Carlston Lato on the fence. Marika Koseki looked the threat of the 200s, and so he should be. A little bit of concern yesterday. 20 starts for 18 wins. Acknowledges the crowd, but he's
certainly a solid favourite. Makers just on the each way odds. Number 8 Segments has had very good support with bookmakers early in the betting, and the other favourite is number 12 Dainrich, who opened up the favourite but has kept getting out a couple of points.
To beat Lolando, number 1.
Main 2.
Yeah, look, Lolando number 1, 430 Dainrich down the bottom, number 12. Set for the Scalacci. Signal. Racing. And all bar one flew from the outside, bounced quickly with Dainrich and Lolando just off those Miss Mooney segments. Poet's Voice and Kill the Cat is getting up on the inside from strike line. 4 off the 600 side, Nazar. Lolando on the inside of all bar one up to the turn. 2 lengths to Dainrich. A length further back, Kill the Cat under pressure from segments. Then Poet's Voice and further back, Miss Mooney and a gap to strike line. Straightening up Lolando, a neck in front of all bar one. Segments on the outside, running to third, followed by Dainrich. Lolando under pressure, they've got him. Segments hit the front out in the middle. Miss Mooney, Poet's Voice are running on. Dainrich battling on. Lolando struggling, but Segments has raced away and is home. 3 in front of Dainrich and Miss Mooney, and Segments canters home. A good 3.5 lengths to Dainrich, a length and a half Miss Mooney. A gap Poet's Voice further back, Bazaar. Kill the Cat. Line for Lolando there.
Segments $9.20 and $3.20. Second, Dainrich, number 12.
Williams in the news again, $5.50. Miss Mooney, $13. Steve Lolando bled a second time. That's it for him in Australia. But look, the winner, it's all before you.
Yeah, she was very good. The story of the race unfolded very early when all bar one and Lolando went out very hard. 22.9 from...
Puts him off stride, and he goes bang on Segments on the mare, and she just skips out. And look, she had fantastic form. Don't forget she ran Fastnet Rock, a very close second in an Oakley Plate, and her form in the Galaxy too, behind Charge Forward, I think it was only less than 2 lengths. So she's a pretty smart mare on a day.
We're looking at 4 Swift Tank, 2 horses who Cornelled this race last year, 2 Grey Song and 6 Rise On.
Well, like a Falcon's an easing favourite in a race of not much encouraging action, and Bull are probably best back. Let's go to Rob in the betting ring and find out what's happening now.
Yes, thanks very much, Bruce. We're about to be joined by Son and Umbulla. They seem the main 2 as we join Keith.
Stalls.
We join Keith.
Stalls are back and they're off this time. Left at a good line. Evil Master down to the inside, one of the best away. Swift Tango only walked out of the barrier, and one of the fastest out is Emerald Jack and also Bacardi Royale. And Mbula wider out in the track, and Serrera's coming over pretty quickly. Down to the winning post of the 850. 2 to Shrogane, Rise on the inside, a length and a half like a Falcon. He's about 10 lengths off them. Swift Tango inside him. 2 to Hugs Dancer and 2 to Vesvate. They're starting to roll along at the 650-metre mark. The leader still Bacardi Royale. A length in front of Mbula, 2 to Emerald Jack. Evil Master running 4th. They're followed by Serrera. 2 and 3 then Tripoli. Like a Falcon comes very wide. First Charter under pressure. Grey Song further back with Swift Tango followed by Rise On. On the bend, Mbula goes up to Bacardi Royale. Evil Master goes for the run off the fence. Further out is Emerald Jack and Serrera coming down the centre. A gap then to Like a Falcon. He's still 3 lengths off them. Serrera out in the middle has hit the front. Like a Falcon starting to wind up. Here he comes. Oh yes, he's got them. Like a Falcon ranges to Serrera, Bacardi Royale with a late runner's Hugs Dancer, but Like a Falcon might race into the Caulfield Cup on that. He wins by 2 lengths. Second Serrera, Hugs Dancer, a good run, grabbed 3rd. 4th Bacardi Royale, then Emerald Jack and Bulla. Is last of all. Good galloper Like a Falcon.
made the quantum leap today.
Group 1 Caulfield Cup.
His 8th start for his 5th win. It was emphatic this afternoon. He conceded them.
All right, we can see on screen that's Richard Frere on the left, and well, he's a legend around the north of this state and the south of New South Wales. He trains it.
And we've seen over the years that horses who win this race decisively sneak into the Caulfield Cup a week later with no weight, which is the case. They are quite often very competitive.
3:31.
Carlton Draft Caulfield Cup. In 35 minutes' time, you'll be testing Confectioner as your Caulfield Cup ride. Do you have a contingency plan, Craig?
No, look, I tell you, I've been very fortunate since I've come.
What if Confectioner's not a player in the team if he doesn't make the Caulfield Cup field?
Well, I'm out here to make sure he does.
Get on it, Craig. Well, there's a message there, surely.
15, that horse you just saw win there, won a Class 1 at Corowa. $1.80 would have been good odds, wouldn't it? Like a Falcon now, second favourite for a Caulfield Cup. 3:30 yesterday. Natural staying ability, Steve, but is that the sort of horse that can swoop around a quality field and win a Caulfield Cup?
Well, probably not. I'm inclined to risk him. I guess the only unknown is his continuing rate of improvement. He might still be on an upward spiral. But he's...
He had 52 yesterday, Steve, and drops to 48, drops 4 kilos.
A strong guide in recent years. The past 6 Caulfield Cup winners have come through either the Yalumba or the Turnbull. I think there were really only 2 significant runs in the race, and that was the winner and Hug Stancer, both breaking a minute for the last 1,000, which is pretty solid in a staying race.
Vouvray, of course. These aren't bad horses, Steve.
Oh, they're good horses, but apart from Mummify, who I think is now looking as the likely Caulfield Cup winner, in my opinion, if the track is dry. The rest of those horses, Dazelle, Vouvray, promising much, yet to deliver.
He's the cut.
Yeah.
Gee, I'm happy for Richard Frere.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot of confidence in this horse. Look,
why wouldn't you?
He's a superstar. I think he's a superstar. Just his attitude, the way he lobs along and quickens at the end of his races. He looks a real 2-miler. He's my early tip for the Melbourne Cup.
Oh, hello. You've got him in the Melbourne Cup now.
Yep, he'll win the Melbourne Cup.
You know what, I think you're right. I think he would run well on a Melbourne Cup.
Wow.
Because he keeps batting on, and he's a truly... He looks a bit... He reminds me a bit of a horse like Doremus. Just keeps going at that one bat, wastes no energy.
Look, I know he qualified...
Looking through the mounting yard for the running of the Yalumba Stakes, Group 1 level. We're going to look at number...
Him, that's the bottom line.
Well, if it's D-Day for him, Steve, it's D-Day for this horse. El Segundo, TAB number 6, Darren Gouch, rides. Gouch won this race in 91 on Shaftesbury Avenue. Ringbit winning, it's going to change the...
Look, I mean, Perlin's been a big go here. We expected the money to come for Perlin.
The tote board across the country, Perlin, a clear favourite in all venues, and the $2.80 matches his bookie.
Set for the Yalumba. Set to go. They're off this time. Came out in a pretty good line too. Perlin, he's last to hit the ground, Perlin. He's last out of the machine. And El Segundo and Gray's in began quickly, and further out Bazelle Confectioner, followed by Lachlan River. Then Perlin improving from Fields of Omar Hollow. Surprise leader is Bazelle, slowing them up in front, a length and a half to Gray's in, 2.5 Confectioner. And they're only cantering at the moment, a length further back Lachlan River. And Nicklick lets go now on Perlin, and he whips around the outside to put some speed into the race at the 1,000-metre mark. And the leader Bazelle from on the outside. Gray's in. Perlin 3 deep has gone up now second. Gray's in third, followed by Lachlan River. Confectioner just held up a half length further back, Fields of Omar. Then Irish Darling, El Segundo and Hollow Bullet. Well, a race of change at the 600. Bazelle just led Perlin. Then Gray's in on the outside, Lachlan River. El Segundo's got a rails run up on the inside, a half then Confectioner. Then Fields of Omar, 4 lengths off them. He'll have to come wide. Irish Darling on the inside, a length further back, then Hollow Bullet. On the bend they race now. The leader is Bazelle from Perlin, and further out on the track came Lachlan River. El Segundo cutting the turn. Down the middle is Fields of Omar, 3 lengths off them. Bazelle grabbed by El Segundo. 2 lengths Lachlan River. Perlin struggling. Fields of Omar coming down the centre, but El Segundo's 2 lengths in front. Fields of Omar winding up with a late run. He's coming very late. Still El Segundo in front. Fields is trying desperately. He won't get there from Confectioner. El Segundo takes it. 2 lengths to Fields of Omar, and neck away. Third is Confectioner. Then Gray's in. Lachlan River further back on the race. Bazelle. Perlin disappointing today from Hollow Bullet, and Irish Darling is last of all. Along with Like a Falcon, Fields of Omar, he's on song for another crack at the Cox plate.
Really showed a turn of foot and kept running, and a Class 6 winner at Werribee 3 starts back. We talk about the meteoric rise of Like a Falcon. Well, this horse is just exploding.
drops 7.5 kilos as we go to John Letts with Darren Gauci.
I'd argue, as we did, that Confectioner probably didn't have the best of luck, and Fields of Omar looks to be on target for another legitimate crack at a Cox Plate. But I don't...
Into a Caulfield Cup with 49.5, down from 57. I can't remember a Yalumba winner dropping 7.5 kilos into a Caulfield Cup.
Not in recent memory, and it's also something...
Caulfield Cup. The $64,000 question is, will he?
Not yet, no. He's a young horse. We've had to baby him a little bit to get him to this race. It'll be a hard decision, but we don't want to make a mistake. If it was 14 days, probably get him there. 7 days will be touch and go.
When will you make a final decision?
He seems to manage pretty well, and I've got the utmost confidence with this horse, and also Colin. He's done a fantastic job to keep this horse up, and...
wanting to...
Today surrounds David Hayes, and Confectioner, who ran in the Yalumba, had to win to assure himself a start in the Caulfield Cup next week. Finished third. Craig Williams was the rider, and David wasn't too happy with the performance. Here's Neil Kearney with the trainer.
What did you think of the ride on Confectioner?
No, Craig got it wrong. It was a bad ride.
Told him?
Yeah, I would, yes. But yeah, like...
You will tell him?
No, I have. I've spoken to Craig, and Craig knows he's done a bad ride. He's a professional. It's just a shame he picked this race, the most important race, to do his worst ride, you know. He's done a lot of... It is a shame to have the favourite that's probably not going to get in, and no fault of the favourites.
Terrific on track for the Caulfield Cup. Confectioner, well, is he on track for the Cox Plate? Fields of Omar. Is Confectioner going to join him? Steve, the Yalumba Stakes hasn't historically been a great guide for the Caulfield Cup, but he's a genuine horse.
Well, he is a genuine horse. If you wanted to play devil's advocate, you could perhaps argue that the win was a touch flattering. The perfect run, Gout sticking to the inside, Bazell hanging out, of course, coming around the turn. He got the perfect run. There's little doubt Confectioner should have won the race. As to how critical you would be of Craig Williams, I might leave that to Simon for a greater analysis. But I think once Danny Nicklick whipped around him, Simon, there was really not much he could do from that point on.
No, not at all.
Dropped 7.5 kilos into a Caulfield Cup next week. If you just look at it on face value, Steve, there's a winner for the Caulfield Cup.
On face value, yes. However, he's yet to run at 2,400 metres, so we're not sure about his capacity at the distance. Got to be a little bit cautious about this race yesterday. 1:05.2 the first 1,000. They were absolutely walking, and often when that happens...
See him back in the Group 1 winners list, as for Colin Little as well. Fields of Omar second, and Confectioner third.
A brilliant win, this. This is a real good horse on the rise, this El Segundo. He's now a Group 1 weight for age winner. He's got beautiful form for the Caulfield Cup. Colin Little's sort of humming and hawing about whether he'll run him in the Caulfield Cup. You got to run him, Colin. I mean, when they've got that weight for age form, he's getting him with a huge weight advantage. He's going well right now. He goes well on his home track. You got to run him. And I think he...
Aided by the great ride in a tough weight for age race, because, you know, you have to run. He's got no weight, and if he does run the 1.5 miles, which he should, the mare he's out of, Palais Verdos, won a Manion Cup over the 2,400 metres. Look, it's got everything that suggests it's got to run, and if it does, good luck to the rest. And Confectioner, I think he should have won, and I think he should be elevated into the Caulfield Cup field.
Oh, cut it
He's carrying hundreds of $1,000s of punters' money.
Mate.
He was the favourite. Should have won. Should be in the race. Should be in the race.
He's had a year to qualify. Hasn't been able to do it.
Should be in the race.
You know what? And what about the people
What
who
about
have qualified?
And Stratum at number 1, just looking for a win since the Golden Slipper at $13.90. Paratroopers 4 for 4, this time in at $6. Danger Looms 44, the first of 2 for $40. What on the market? God's Own for Bart Cummings and Glenn Boss $5.40. Gonski, so impressive at Flemington last week at $9.80. Testifiable $21, a bit of a tip today. Primus, very big odds at $23.90. Paternity at $87.
Trip was trained by Hawks. Wayne Hawks is now with Keith Hillier.
And he's had 2 runs on 2 wet tracks and hasn't handled it, but obviously Randwick's a bit different to Caulfield, so I suppose we're going to be all experts in 10 minutes' time.
And the last word, Dean Lester's eye catcher was number 7, which is God's Own, and the Wallace Livestock Loan.
Open Caulfield Guineas. It'll be a great Caulfield Guineas. We're hoping.
Time they jumped in a very good line too. One of the first out, Gonski, bounced in front here of Paratroopers, going up second early from Red Dazzler, followed by Paternity, Silent Echo the inside, and Stratum pushing up now. Perfectly ready, just getting his head up in the air a little. Followed followed further back in the field by Primus. Oh, he got knocked down, Primus, so did God's Own. Paternity came back into their lap. Plenty of trouble in the early point, and God's Own went back to last. He was knocked out of the race. Over the top of the hill, Gonski took it further back than Primus. Then came over on the inside, Testifiable from Danger Looms, and God's Own knocked down early last of all. At the 800-metre mark, and the Guineas and the leader, Gonski, a length in front. Paratroopers second, Stratum third, a length off, a length further back, Red Dazzler. 4 lengths further back, fifth is perfectly ready. Apache Cat has gotten the move around the outside, followed by Paternity. Silent Echo the fence, and further back in the race, God's Own. Then came Primus, followed by Danger Looms, and last of all, Testifiable. Gonski up to the turn, a half length in front on the outside. Paratroopers, Red Dazzler went up third. Stratum behind those. Apache Cat, the widest runner around, perfectly ready. When they turn for home, it's been nice and rough. When they turn, God's Own got flattened again. Into the straight, Gonski in front. Paratroopers coming at it quickly. Paratroopers has ranged up and hit the front now. Getting out of Stratum, battling on Gonski, then perfectly ready. Paratroopers going for home, and the Guineas draws a length in front, is holding Gonski. God's Own getting out when it's all over, is flying. Paratroopers in front. God's Own flying to it on the outside. He got up. A remarkable performance. God's Own has won the Guineas. I've never seen anything like it. He's got up to beat Paratroopers. Third home out wide, maybe Primus, who got knocked down early, followed by Gonski and then Stratum. Perfectly ready, Danger Looms, Apache Cat. Well back was Paternity, followed by further back in the race, Testifiable, Red Dazzler, and Silent Echo is last of all. God's Own has won the Guineas. This is an incredible performance. Gonski knocked down in the first 300 metres, stood on his head when they turned for home, and this has been one of the biggest performances I've ever seen in the Caulfield Guineas in the time I've been calling races, number 7. And if you watch the replay on the line, you'll see Boss shake his head. I don't think Glenn Boss can believe this horse has got up. He's in the checkered colours. He's just lifting on the line. He's got up. And look at him, Glenn Boss, he shakes his head as if to say, how has this won?
What he done today?
Say, how has this won?
What he done today was simply extraordinary, mate. The first turn, there was interference, I got shoved off the track, and to his credit, he regained his composure. The speed was solid, so I just knew I was going to track up into the race. Coming to the turn, I was just getting the best run through, and Stratum come out and nearly put me on the ground. He just, I don't know how this horse stayed up on his feet. And the Bart Cummings polish shone through.
Good God's Own is, and hasn't Bart got some 3-year-olds? He's got Pendragon coming down for the Derby, and on that performance, you'd run this in a Cox Plate, wouldn't you?
I think you would. That was quite remarkable, really. Overall time, one.
Have you ever seen a performance like that?
No, it's very good.
That's all you got to say?
Well,
it was better than good, Bart. Come on.
It was terrific, I must admit.
Had you given up on him? Not once, but twice was he poleaxed.
Well, the first one was bad enough. The second one just added a bit of spice to the grill a bit. And after that, it was, I didn't think he could win personally, but he's obviously a very good horse.
Did you think he was...
You're astonished that he won. God's Own, Redute's Choice, $7.50 for Glenn Boss and Bart Cummings. Paratroopers, $6.50. Primus, $15. Bart, Glenn Boss said that throughout the week you'd rung him, you went to the jockey's room twice just for what you did with Tarch Rossi. Can you compare the horses in any way?
Oh, they're all different every season. It's very hard to compare them. They're all good. All champions have got a great will to win, and that was expressed clearly yesterday.
Champion,
like Glenn said, he sprints like a gazelle when needed, and that's a sign of a very good horse, you know, to be able to do that.
Okay, we're going to have a look at
the gate. Gonski going Burgundy. You watch him hold his line inside Red Dazzler there, and all of a sudden Paternity gets checked onto Primus, and then God's Own cops the brunt of that and gets shunted wide. There's nothing else but to go back here for Glenn Boss. He thought, well, geez, I've been shunted out there. JB, he went back to last.
It didn't matter.
For Glenn Boss, he thought, well, geez, I've been shunted out there. JB, he went back to last.
It didn't matter much at all. It allowed you to finish on furlong, which is exactly what happened, really.
Yeah, you just didn't need that second check on the home turn, though, Bart.
Certainly didn't expect that and didn't need it.
A sign of champions, though, Bart. They're able to get himself out of trouble after copping a bump or two like that. He possesses those qualities. But I want to take you back to Tuesday morning when he galloped on the grass. Prior to that, he ran second at Caulfield in the Guineas Prelude behind Apache Cat. But he's...
But I'll tell you something, I can't stick my chest out because I said we had 4 at home better than God's Own. And the way he went, I don't think there's anything anywhere better than God's Own.
Can he win a Cox Plate?
Yep.
Well, you know, I think that in the last 10 years, 2 3-year-olds have won the Cox Plate, Octagonal and Savabeel, and neither of them had a lead-up performance to match that before the race.
Last week you told us Hotel Grand was a better performance in the Champion Stakes than Savabeel the year before.
Definitely.
Which wins, Hotel Grand or God's Own out of the 3-year-olds?
If you'd have asked me that question last week, I'd have said Hotel Grand. Today I'd have to say God's Own, because he's proved he can go in Melbourne and the way he went yesterday. I think they're both going to be very competitive beside the mare. I thought a fortnight ago that she was the best thing I'd seen put down in a big race, Makybe Diva. Now they're two most definite dangers, particularly God's Own.
One goes forward, one...
But I thought it was outstanding there yesterday. I didn't think anything could upstage like a Falcon until the Guineas, and a freakish performance by God's Own. One of the best performances you'll see in a lifetime.
Yep, that is a wrap.
I was originally totally enamoured and overawed with God's Own's performance yesterday, but I couldn't work out how he did it. I was scratching my head after the race thinking, how does that happen? Good horse, even if you're a great horse, you can't do that against good horses. Well, then I figured it out. And I have figured it out, and I won't make any friends. Right.
Oh, really?
Now,
to go,
God's Own? No, not at all. I mean, he was gone plenty of times. So look, originally I was absolutely flabbergasted by the way he got up. But I think I figured out how you do it. Now, I couldn't work out, if these are good 3-year-olds, how he's done that. Unless he's the greatest superstar 3-year-old we've ever seen, there had to be some reason for it. Now, if you go and look at the sectional times, you'll find out that the Guineas ran their last 600 metres in 38.5. Now that is nearly 3 seconds slower than they ran their last 600 metres in the Epsom Handicap over the same distance a race or two later. Now, if you look at from the 400 metres, they were another nearly 2.5 seconds slower over the last 400. They've absolutely walked to the line in the Guineas. Now, all I can say is that Paratroopers and not Primus because he ran on well, but Paratroopers and Gonski, who led into the straight and fought it out for a long part of it, they're probably not capable at this stage of running 1,600 metres, and they have collapsed over the last 200 metres. That has allowed God's Own just to keep going at a good solid bat, and he's a very good colt. I'm not running him down, he's a good colt, but he's kept going at a solid bat and been able to run them over. That's how he's done it, and that's how he's been able to get over this interference and do it. The two leaders, the horses that should have gone on and won, are Gonski and Paratroopers. They have collapsed over the last 200 metres. That's what's got them beaten.
Look, trust you to pour cold water on the best win we've seen in the last 30 years. Open your eyes, have a look at that win. That's an outstanding performance.
It sure is.
Overall, they've run faster time than the Toorak.
By a tick.
So they've still run faster time overall. You're looking at these little facts and figures on paper.
It started to rain.
Open your eyes and look at the race.
It started to rain before the Toorak was run.
It was raining during the Guineas.
The others have collapsed.
Now, Gonner and all those, can we put him in there as a 3-year-old?
Richard?
Look, he's a very good 3-year-old. I don't think he can win the Cox Plate God's Own. Right? If they ran him, I wouldn't be worried about him. I'm worried about the other horse, Hotel Grand, because I think he's a different sort of horse that will sit up on the pace in a Cox Plate and be hard to run down. I'm not worried about God's Own.
And Richard, in particular...
Early to take the odds, Shania Dane, Bruce, $4.60 put up, still betting to 128-odd%, but they've stepped in and she's firmed in now to about 3-1 and very substantially back to early in the piece. So she's the likely leader despite the fact that she's drawn wide.
OK, you can see number 9, $6.20 on Super Tab. New South Wales punters are loyal, $2.90 on New South Wales Tab. Well, we thought...
Canto to Shania Dane has been back for a stack here, Simon. Every call that seems to be coming through, that's the only one...
Shania Dane, unders in New South Wales and on Unitab. Smoking Joe, the Victorian tote favourite, $4.
Super Kid 2 from the outside. They're off this time. And one of the best away is our Smoking Joe, bounced in front of Nicanero going forward today from Infinite Grace, and further about is Oamaru Storm, wider out Sky Cuddle. Shania Dane began well and is pushing on, but out very deep when they settle down, barely a moment just off them. Up the side of the 950 metre mark, Shania Dane at the 950 metre mark. Shania Dane slowed the speed, a half in front here from on the outside Sky Cuddle. Nicanero is up on the outside 3 deep, back in the middle is our Smoking Joe. Oamaru Storm the fence, then 3 deep is barely a moment. Around he Consul. The inside Modem, a length further back Calvin. Super Kid working into it, followed by Infinite Grace, and then Kyla Kwong and Roman Arch last of all. 600 out in the Turak. And Shania Dane, they put a fortune on it, a half length in front of Sky Cuddle. And on the outside, Nicanero, a length further back is Omeru Storm, waiting for a run. Then barely a moment under pressure, trying to get out as Smoke and Joe. And further back in the race, Calvin and a Consul, and Modem got up on the inside. Into the straight now. Nicanero out wide, going up to Shania Dane. Sky Cuddle the centre, barely a moment down the outside, still coming with Super Kid, followed by Calvin. Nicanero in front, barely a moment, has grabbed it on the outside, getting a late run. Sky Cuddle, Shania Dane fighting back, barely a moment in front, barely a moment, wins the Turak, barely a moment. 3/4 of a length to either Super Kid or Calvin out in the middle. Behind those, Nicanero, followed by Shania Dane, then Roman Arch. Sky Cuddle pulling up quickly after the line from Our Smoke and Joe, then Modem, Infinite Grace, followed by a Consul, Omeru Storm, and Kyla Kwong is last of all. Barely a moment, has now won the Dubai Cup at Group 1. The Turak today, here he is head on.
I've been very fortunate to give me an opportunity since come back from Hong Kong, and he wasn't happy, and I'm equally as unhappy as he was with the last one. But you know what? He just said, that's in the past, we can only change the future.
Congratulations, mate, and as a group.
Bruce are really at the top of their game. Well, the pace is backed off.
To that between
Very wide, probably even looking for further. Both of these horses really at the top of their game. Well, the pace is backed off.
To that
a step in the right direction, put it that way, but you know, it was great to see this horse. He's you know, he's a wonderful stallion now. He's putting his runs together, genuine, and head that way, because I just question him much further than a mile. I think he's a sprinter miler.
Hayes, $5.50 to beat. Super Kid on track for the Cox Plate, $9. Calvin, perhaps.
No doubt about that. I think all honours with the first three. They set off the pace. They didn't go particularly hard, 2.5 the first 1,000. They had cover, of course, barely a moment had cover behind the stablemate Nicanero, which proved judicious as it turned out. And the runner-up Super Kid with 58 on his back. It was a Group 1 handicap. They carried more weight, first and second, than the other runners.
We saw a pretty glum David.
Yeah, barely a moment. 2 Group 1s in a row now. That was a lovely ride by Craig Williams. He really redeemed himself there. This horse, Super Kid, is absolutely flying.
Great decision on Tuesday is like Confectioner is still there. El Segundo plastered, and like a Falcon at the top of the betting here. Vouvre's been forgotten about. Likewise, Railings, Dazelle.
Bruce, look, and
now that's an amazing story.
Well, 5 weeks ago, Like a Falcon won a Class 4 race at Wagga on a Saturday. It was actually on Sky, being a Saturday tab coverage. And at that stage, he was 500 to 1 to win the Caulfield Cup. Here he is winning that, batting out to the line here, putting a decent gap in them. And you say, oh, well, there's a horse. That's nice of those people to lead it in the Caulfield Cup and the Melbourne Cup. They must think, you know, that they've got a nice little horse on their hands there. He's a 500 to 1 chance. Next minute, all these bets started coming through on Like a Falcon. And I said, well, yeah, as good as gold. Yeah, lovely. That's all right. Never had another run after that until he ran at Sandown on the Sunday. And he only beat, you know, horses like Evil Master, the horses that he beat yesterday. At that stage, he'd come into about 200 to 1, only due to the fact the liabilities on him were quite large. He won at Sandown, and then he stepped out yesterday. He had to win yesterday to get an exemption from the ballot. He hadn't even passed the clauses in the Caulfield Cup. There he stepped out yesterday in the winning edge and brained them there, and now, as you see, he's into the third line of betting in the Caulfield Cup behind El Segundo and Plastered. He's on the same line as in the Caulfield Cup. Andrew said he didn't know about Mummify. Well, my mail is Mummify will run, mainly due to the fact we laid a bet yesterday afternoon of 100,000 to 3,000 Mummify in the Caulfield Cup. That usually tells you that they're going to run. Lee, you had to produce the money.
Tell me about this Like a Falcon. So they've backed him at 500 to 1 to win the Caulfield Cup?
500 to 1 to win the Caulfield Cup, 125,000 to 1 to win the double.
OK. How much has he taken out?
Well, his total liability with all runners, he wins the Caulfield Cup with all runners to win the Melbourne Cup's $5 million.
I think it's a great story. I think it's a great story.
That have come from nowhere.
Right, well, there's the Melbourne Cup. She is favourite for the Melbourne Cup, Makybe Diva, of course. Customers did have the chance to take 20 to 1 about her in a special promotion we had at TAB Sports Bet a few months ago.
Customers,
right? Customers, same company here. Plastered the second pick at $6.50. He's got to...
About to enter the mounting yard here for the
1,000 guineas sponsored by Vinery Stud. A spirited betting race ahead of us. Riwaya is a clear favourite, has been confidently backed, but there's some...
For the favourite. And a couple of interesting nuances to this race already. Assertive Guest, of course, the recent Sandown winner, they put her up 100 to 1, which was pretty remarkable, and punters have taken those odds, and she's into about $70 odd, and certainly some...
So we'll see where the action is with Riwaya. 290 on Super Tab, 360 New South Wales, 280 Unitab. A solid 2 to 1 chance in the betting ring here. Down to 11, Riwaya, $3. Bookies are betting 20 cents better than that.
Favourite for the 1,000 guineas. Lights on, they're racing, and on the inside, Rawaya first out here from Downing and Nemeson, beginning well out wide of Kayambi. Also, Sydney Owner showing some speed with Carry On Cutie pushing up in the middle, and Kayambi from the outside, and also Sydney Owner lead from Rawaya, Carry On Cutie. Then top of the hill, Serenade Rose taking on over on the inside. Kayambi and they're 2.5 in front of Sydney Owner. In the box seat is Rawaya going up third, Sydney Owner fourth, a length and a half Carry On Cutie. The inside Nemeson, 1.5 Downing, a length Assertive Guest. One Hill Far, a half Beauty Watch, a length into his Anami Imaginaire. Then came Mary Marvel, Empress Lily, 2 to Benko, and Zaria last of all, 700 out. And it's Kayambi on the inside, a half length in front. On the outside of it, Serenade Rose, a length Sydney Owner. Rawaya's got all the favours fourth the fence. They're followed by Carry On Cutie. Nemeson is following Rawaya up to the turn from Doubting. Then came Izanami, further back Hill Far, Assertive Guest, and Mary Marvel. On the turn they race. Kayambi, Serenade Rose, Rawaya. He waits for the run. Sydney Owner on the outside, then Nemeson down the middle. Rawaya about to get the run between Serenade Rose and Kayambi, and she gets it. Wider out, Nemeson coming with a run. Rawaya in front, Nemeson winding up has got her. Nemeson has quickly moved to Rawaya close to the line. Nemeson in front, and Nemeson is going to win the 1,000 guineas, a length of the line. Rawaya ahead third, Serenade Rose, and Assertive Guest flashed home to run fourth. Then further back in the race, Kayambi, followed by Benko, Beauty Watch. The outside then came Empress Lily, followed by Doubting, Mary Marvel, and Kayambi, but Nemeson finishing too well. The John Hawkes filly. And she was too strong for Rawaya, probably.
It's a series winner in Sydney, having won, of course, the Silver Shadow, the Furious and the T-Rose, but in the Flight Stake. But she gets a Group 1 win today, Steve. Deservedly so in the 1,000 guineas, but nothing away from Riwaya.
Here, it's in the best performed filly in Sydney. Riwaya, the touted filly here. Serenade Rose, the Manifold Stakes winner, and alas for those who... And alas for those who speculated at the big odds Assertive Guest, where did she run for the each-way punters?
Naturally fourth. But if you're back... Holding off the Sydney 3-year-olds in the Oaks, Kenny, but Astronomia yesterday looked pretty good.
Yeah, Astronomia's been just crying out for a distance, and she got it yesterday in 2000. Whatever beats her will win the Oaks, I feel.
I think so. Beauty Watch was okay there.
But isn't this winner? She's a trier, isn't she?
Oh,
She's a good man.
Stablemate on the outside, Emily...
Empress Lily?
Empress Lily, sorry, from the Freedman stable. She had to go back. She was forced extremely wide. She ran on very well.
Dragon, the Bart Cummings trained runner, and also a head turner for John Hawkes, and certainly favourite ahead of head turner. And then we get out to fairly good each way odds for Vision and Power, and then further out to Replicators. So certainly it's
been very heavily...
Getting out towards 7 to 4 in the old here for number 1, Pendragon.
And they're ready to go. They're racing this time. Left in a good line too. Largo Boy went back after the start. B3 point made. Replicator began quickly with Pendragon, and Vision and Power also going forward. He's going to sit back early on head turner as B3 took it up now from... And on the outside, Replicator inclined to pull, but he's gone up quickly to B3. Pendragon's right there, third outside, Vision and Power. 2 to head turner, followed by Point Made. 600 out, they'll slap the speed on shortly. Replicator a half in front of B3, and Pendragon, he gets moving on it quickly now, Giles. It goes after the leader, head turner's right on his hammer. Then Vision and Power, and 2 lengths to Point Made, forget the others. On the bend now, and Pendragon quickly goes up to Replicator. 2 to head turner into the clear. They're followed by Vision and Power, 300 to go. And on the outside, Pendragon hits the front. He gets a neck in front of Replicator. 2 to head turner's got a bit of ground to make up, but Pendragon's out a length in front. Head turner starting to wear him down. Pendragon fighting back. Pendragon a neck in front of head turner. Down to the line, and it's Pendragon. Pendragon a half head to head turner. 2 lengths away, third in the race was Replicator. Then Point Made, further back in the race, Vision and Power. A gap to Largo Boy, followed by Mr. Pedantic and B3.
Out a ride on either in the Derby.
Let's go to John Lads with Greg Childs.
Effort by this fellow, given the fact that he had to give head turner 2.5 kilos.
That's right, and he's ridden a bit closer than he normally likes to be. But that's the tempo of the track today, so we try to be a bit closer and don't let the leaders out of your sight. And It allowed the second horse to have an advantage at the finish, but we still beat him.
And you're almost
on Pendragon, the Norman Robinson Stakes en route to the Derby for Bart Cummings, $2.90 beat.
Tactical race.
Race plan. Bart spoke to me before the race about using this barrier draw to go forward, and Bart thought the pace might only go steady in the middle stages, and we'd rather be a little bit handier than back, and that's the way we went about it. We jumped out quickly and cleanly.
I think he's going to be better suited at Flemington, but I tell you what, I've just got an inkling that Head Turner, Wayne Hawkes and John have continually said that he is not there yet. He's 6 months away. I think this is probably the better horse out of this particular race. Maybe...
Studebaker, and frightening also, just under the double figure odds. Uprise, no money for Uprise at this point of time at double figure odds, and Duro Valley is a very solid favourite. Activation, and as I speak, more money for this favourite. It's the only one horse that they've backed here in the betting ring.
And on paper, there really doesn't look to be anything to take him on.
The price you see on screen for it on Super Tab is exactly what's being bet here on course. Of course, we've got...
Just off the centre, Activation off this time. Left in a good line, frightening one of the first out here with Charmwood Green. Activation bounded away in front of Thousand Vales, and further out in the tracks of Cello. There's Moscow Ballet going around the outside, and Bazella's nice. Activation a half to Timberina. A length and a half further back in the race. Over on the inside, frightening from Studebaker. Bazella's back in the middle, running sixth. 2 lengths, Giro Valley, then Roman Arch, followed on the inside by Zacello. Charmwood Green got up inside it from Uprise. She's just a tad. She's lost a spot from Irish Crusader, and Thousand Vales, 600 to go. Moscow Ballet in front, but under a lot of pressure. Activation has canted up to it. A length and a half, frightening right behind them. Then came Studebaker, followed by Timberina, and off the track Bazelle, but Activation, Nikolic hasn't let it go yet. It's got Moscow Ballet easily in the straight now from Studebaker, frightening. Then Charmwood Green, he calls an Activation now at the 300. It drew a half length, Studebaker, then Charmwood Green, further back frightening and Roman Arch, but the favourite Activation really digs in now, and away he goes from Studebaker. It's all over. Nickley keeps him going, and Activation, a length and a half, Studebaker. Uprise jumps out of the ground and runs third. Then further back, Giro Valley, Roman Arch, followed by Charmwood Green. She's just a tad. She lost a spot down the side. Furthest of all, he's a good horse, this. He is a good horse. Activation number 4, ridden by Dan Nick.
Bottom him out today, and I think he's quite a good horse, this horse.
Many of the Zabeel stock wear blinkers. Why doesn't Activation use that gear?
Because he hasn't got to a Group 1 race yet. I wouldn't be surprised if the boss wanted to put them on him. That'll probably be his grand final race this time in. And I think...
They gave a touch better than $2. Some gave about $2.10. And it was just bang. He's run about a $1.70 favourite on track. It might only sound like 40 cents, but to bring it in that 40 cents, we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that were put on Activation in the last 10 minutes or so of betting, Bruce.
Thanks, Adam. So punters are really on top here with the world.
There's a Beal for Dan Nicklick, $1.85, heavily backbeat Studebaker, and stakes for this horse. He's right there, isn't he?
I think so, Bruce. What you see is what you get there. Activation was impressive, and we saw the mare Uprise in those pink and white sashes. Blinkers first time. She charged to the line. There were lots of handy runs in the race, but 2 good runs, Activation and Uprise.
Look, another round.
Saspy, they certainly are the 2 fancied runners. We then go down to the page to number 14, Dane Rich, who's eased out a couple of points with Simon Beasley. He's the 3rd pick in the market. A little bit of specking for it. Number 3, Ray de Royals, opened up a double figure. Austin's had
We'll get to it on the second page on our screen here for the top 8 on Super Tab. I'm sure it's in the top odds on New South Wales. It was 9.80.
Racing Raid the Royals mustered. G.I. Jane a bit slow to get going. Dane Rich won the start with Jet Spur going faster now. Sweet Moss is further out in the track. Emlos are pushing forward, followed by Onali, a length and a half to Mustard. Well back to the turn, Beautiful Gem, G.I. Jane, Raid the Royals, and 3 to St Basil. On the bend they race inside the 500. Dane Rich off the fence, getting up on the inside. Dance the Waves. Dane Rich is hanging badly. Jet Spur further out. Got a bump. Then Coachinero. Emlos are back in the middle. Dane Rich all over the place. Jet Spur took the lead. Coachinero after it. Dance the Waves the inside. And King Rex is starting to come home well. Jet Spur in front of Dance the Waves. Coachinero. Mustard with a late run. The leader is Jet Spur near the line from Dance the Waves. Jet Spur wins it a neck and got out off the track over Dance the Waves and Mustard 3rd. Then King Rex further back. Coachinero. Up on the inside. Saspy behind the near the tail. Bow 1, and that is Emloza. The 3-year-old laying out near the line, but it's 1. Jet Spur.
one which hung on the
crest after the race.
And he might get another prize perhaps next week. He rides God's Own, does he not, in the Cox Plate?
A Sydney 3-year-old. Go the theory. 22.58 the last.
Heavily backed $18. Let's go to Steve Baster up the straight. $9. Dance Away of Steve King. 16 Mustard. Heavily backed $18.
A lot of good runs in this race. Horses you can follow over the next couple of weeks. Beautiful Gem, very consistent mare, didn't have a lot of luck. Look at the horse back in the green and white with the blinkers, the white blinkers, Honolulu, the South Australian sprinter. It doesn't have any luck. And shortly in the picture to the extreme left, you'll see Raid the Royals in the winkers, the sheepskin on the side of the head of that horse. Now, he was shoved right off the track on the home turn, Raid the Royals. He ran home very strongly. As I mentioned, Beautiful Gem was good. Honolulu was okay. King Rex, Saspy, all of these horses can go on, and the place getters, of course.
You can see Simon there.
The 3-year-old form, those horses are a little bit unlucky, but look, the 3-year-old form from Sydney this year, absolutely outstanding, far superior. 2 starts ago, he beat Gonski, this horse.
War Metrop Caulfield Cup double, thanks to the Starcraft Stakes, and heavily back favourite is certainly 15, 1 in a million as we go up to our caller.
As 1 in a million's about to come forward, very heavily tried, this number 15, 440 on Super Tab at the moment, the easing second pick, Candy Vale. As is the norm, went back after the start, Little Chloe, one of the first to begin down to the inside, and away fast out wide on the track here is 1 in a million showing great speed, 1 in a million trying to burn them off early now, and going with it is Afra. Little Chloe third, followed by Chewy Song, a length and a half, Truly Wicked. Michelle, leader over on the outside here is going around the Vitesse Dane, although pushing up on the inside, 1 in a million. Truly Wicked's gone forward now. 1 in a million led from Truly Wicked, Chewy Song, and out wider Infinite Grace from Little Chloe. Then further back in the race, coming to the turn, Afra, followed out wider by Candy Vale. Further back than Hennessy Waltz and Little Chloe on the rail. On the turn, 1 in a million, Truly Wicked. Out wider on the track, Infinite Grace going up quickly out in the centre. Infinite Grace has hit the front. Candy Vale is after it, 1 in a million struggling. Then further back, Hennessy Waltz, but Infinite Grace at the 150, a length in front. Candy Vale pegging it back. Infinite Grace, the leader from Candy Vale, and Storm Alert. Infinite Grace, Candy Vale lunging at it on the line. They hit it. Infinite Grace and Candy Vale, not much between them on the line. Storm Alert has run third. Then further back was Hennessy Wells, Sarah Michelle. Back behind those, then one near the tail. And Lyrical Bid is last of all. Wait for the number. Infinite Grace has got it by a nose.
No, she's a good, honest man.
$17.60, $4, beat 12, Candy Vale, 210, 13, Storm Alert, 270.
And Storm Alert for Dan Nicolik and Infinite Grace. Steve, heading obviously towards the Nestle again during Flemington's big cup week.
You would expect so, Bruce. She's got a terrific record in this race here at Caulfield, a Group 2 mares race. Good, strong performance. I think the first 5 you can probably follow with some confidence here. That's, of course, Infinite Grace, Hennessy Waltz, Candy Vale, Storm Alert, and Sarah Michelle running another cracker.
Yeah, great ride there by Scotty Seamer. He summed it up well. Got her out into a winning position on the point of the bend. Candy Vale tried to track Infinite Grace into the race with Stephen King there on the outside in the lime colours. And what a ding-dong battle here. It's the stride before on Derby Day.
I would think so. It was a very competitive race here too. 1 in a million, of course, was the horse they backed. It was gassed mid-race by Truly Wicked, who dropped out to run last. And I think under the circumstances, I wouldn't be putting the pen through 1 in a million.
All right.
Connections have confirmed 2003 Caulfield Cup winner Mumify will take his place in tomorrow's Cup field. But
all but sacrificing the chance to have Mumify crowned world champion in preference to attempting to become the 8th horse to win 2 Caulfield Cups.
I think the Cox Plate's got a little tougher now than what it was sort of 4 or 5 weeks ago, so the Caulfield Cup's probably a better option for us.
Little, tomorrow's race looms as the realisation of a long-term dream with rising star El Segundo.
To be favourite might surprise me, but the fact that he's in the race doesn't surprise me at all.
The 4-year-old, a raging $3.75 favourite, ahead of Derby winner Plastered.
The 2003 winner, drawing barrier 20, probably has to go forward.
Take into account here that 2 of the emergencies are up and got 10, Railings 12, Demerger 11 for Dwayne Dunn. We've also got Dazelle for Johnny Hawkes, and Darren Beedman drew the outside gate. Will start from 18. Hollow Bullet, you can put in Stephen King. Will start from 16. El Segundo, there's the perfect gate for it. Darren Gauci for into $3.50 in some markets. Irish Darling.
Order now. Pastored is well in that commission, but been a little bit easy. Railings has remained very firm. About double the each way quote for number 9 Railings, and like a Falcon, the other horse that was well in the market, you can get double figure odds on track. Vouvre's kept grain.
Surdex at 14. Cart Diamond at pretty big odds. Railings at 8.70. Dazelle 16. Vouvray in the market along with El Segundo, who is the second favourite. And then Like a Falcon at $10. Now in 15 minutes. There they are in market.
Now for Plastered.
Yeah, look, El Segundo's been easy in the market here, but all the bookmakers on course to take it a heap of money top luck. Look, there's huge backing for Mummify, the winner from 2 years ago. Plastered's been also supported enormously at $7. He's going to get into $6.50. We've had very big money for Sir Dex. Very strong money coming from Sydney for number 9, Railings. There's also
you can get
Caulfield ridden. Colin Little, the trainer, going for his first Caulfield Cup, as is Darren Gauci. Racing. El Segundo's jumped away well with Sir Dex, and Irish Darling, Portland Singer, Natural Blitz, and away well as Demerger. Here's the pace from the outside now, and it's Hollow Bullet on the move with Mummify. Further out is Lachlan River going down to the winning post the first time. Hollow Bullet, Mummify lead from Portland Singer, Sir Dex, and Lachlan River going around the outside. Further back in the race then, when they go out of the straight, would have been Cart Diamond moving up, but he's out wide. Vouvray got into trouble. Razcala was pushed out deep, and El Segundo's going to be 4 back on the rail in the early point as Mummify took it up now inside the 2000 and led out by 2 lengths to Portland Singer. Moving up on the outside, Razcala's caught wide and is pushing on towards the front. They're followed over on the inside by Hollow Bullet, 4th, a length and a half Lachlan River. Then came Vouvray over on the inside, Sir Dex from over. It's Mummify. Mummify a length and a half in front. Razcala gets a good card up second. Hollow Bullet 3rd on the outside, Portland Singer. Vouvray can't get on the track, out on the outside 3 deep. Eye Popper's right off the track, followed by Lachlan River. Over on the inside, Sir Dex a length further back, then Natural Blitz. Then Irish Darling, El Segundo, midfield on the rail. A length further back, Railings, a length then to Demerger, a half length Plastered. 2 lengths to Cart Diamond from Dazelle. They're followed by Wild Iris, has gone up on the outside of Like a Falcon, is last of all. 8.50 out in the Caulfield Cup, and it's Mummify going for his second Caulfield Cup down the side. A neck in front of Razcala. They're followed by Eye Popper, he's been off the track. Vouvray's gone up 3rd, Eye Popper 4th. They're followed by Hollow Bullet. El Segundo is buried back on the inside. He needs a ton of luck. Portland Singer starting a run, but it's Mummify for home. On the outside, Eye Popper, Vouvray, then Hollow Bullet. Razcala dropped out. Now where's the favourite, El Segundo? He's buried in the field. Natural Blitz has gone around the outside. Mummify first for home, tackled by the Japanese horse, Eye Popper. It's on the inside, Mummify from Eye Popper. Then Natural Blitz further back, then Railings running on from Hollow Bullet. And El Segundo back to the rail. Eye Popper and Mummify, stride for stride. Mummify coming back at Eye Popper. Railings and Natural Blitz. Eye Popper, Mummify, and the outside, Railings dived. I think Railings has won the Caulfield Cup on the last stride from either Eye Popper and Mummify, and a great finish then Like a Falcon flashed home. Now where's the favourite, El Segundo? He's buried in the field. Natural Blitz has gone around the outside. Mummify first for home, tackled by the Japanese horse, Eye Popper. It's on the inside, Mummify from Eye Popper. Then Natural Blitz further back, then Railings running on from Hollow Bullet. And El Segundo back to the rail. Eye Popper and Mummify, stride for stride. Mummify coming back at Eye Popper. Railings and Natural Blitz. Eye Popper, Mummify, and the outside, Railings dived. I think Railings has won the Caulfield Cup on the last stride from either Eye Popper and Mummify, and a great finish then Like a Falcon flashed home. El Segundo got out very late. Further back in the race then, Portland Singer followed by Demerger. Then Plastered, well back in the race. Then came at the head of the others, Lachlan River. Then Dazelle, Hollow Bullet. Then came Irish Darling, Cart Diamond, Natural Blitz, followed by Sir Dex, Wild Iris. And Vouvray had no luck, and Razcala has finished off. Tailed off, and Railings has got up to win the Caulfield Cup.
Look, one of them's broken down. We'll see the jockey in a moment. It's Mummify. Geez, they've taken the saddle off Mummify. Well, what a brave horse he is. Won the race in 2003 on place last, and this is terrible luck. But Greg Childs, well, he's got the ride here. What a day it's been for Greg, John Ritchie.
I've been a little bit fortunate. I was committed to Dazelle of John Hawkes, and this ride became available. Railings, owned by one of the owners, is owned by Tony Piscakakis. He's a neighbour of mine. But a special thanks goes to his brother-in-law, Sam.
It's a race I've always wanted to win for a long time, and perhaps haven't had the right horses, but I've had a couple of nice chances coming into the race today, and you know, everything worked out really well for him. He had a lovely run in the race, and Greg rode him very, very well, and it's just great to win a Caulfield Cup. It's one that I've always wanted to win, There's only one to go now. So.
Caulfield Cup, 9, 4 and 1. Railings, G. Childs, $8.70 and $3 even. iPopper, $8.20. Mummify, $4.30. The Quinella one.
But what it did reveal was the performances of Like a Falcon and iPopper were absolutely phenomenal. iPopper's tracked 3 and 4 deep without cover, gone for home at the top of the straight. Herculean effort. Like a Falcon in traffic jams, had to ease almost back to the tail, come wide. Enormous run.
You can see Like a Falcon start to come out back in the pack, only about 5 behind him there, making big ground red with the blue cap. That's Like a Falcon on track for the Melbourne Cup, as is Railings, as is iPopper. Let's hope we can get some better news by the end of the day about Mummify, who's done some sesamoid damage after running third in the Caulfield Cup.
Saved all right? I hope he can. I'm not, I'm not overconfident, O'Neill, but I didn't want him doing anything here. I just said, listen, give the horse a bit more time. He's not distressed. Get him over to the hospital, get the horse bandaged up, get some beauty into him, get him feel both sesamoid bones in his near fetlock. So
he won't race again.
He'll never race again, but hopefully we can save him.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? Because it was a hell of a run.
Look. To carry top weight and make the running all the way, and I thought he was home 80 metres out, and I guess the 57 just got him, and he's run comparable time what he won 2 years ago, so it was an unbelievable effort.
But more importantly, I hope they save him.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, he won $200,000 today, takes his stake money to over $5 million. Mummify, let's hope there's a good story at the end there. Railings, iPopper, Mummify, Natural Blitz, Like a Falcon. El Segundo, they do pay down $75,000 for the first.
For John Hawkes, Greg Childs, $8.50 beat iPopper, the Japanese star, $41 en route to the Melbourne Cup, and the brave Mummify third, $15. The connections, Steve, it was a great race. I mean, we make the case for some beaten runners here, of course, Like a Falcon, Natural Blitz, even Cart Diamond, but look, you can't take anything away from the winner here.
No, certainly not, as we just saw in the replay. Tremendously strong in the last 100. He really knuckled down when the first two had stolen a break. And bearing in mind that this was a Caulfield Cup not run at a particularly fast pace, the two leaders had something left to give in the closing part of the race, and Railings really knuckled down. Very fit racehorse. He's had a good preparation, and only his 13th start.
Oh, Greg Carpenter to announce a penalty tomorrow afternoon for Railings into the Melbourne Cup. Recent precedents: Elsham 2.5 kilos, Mummify 2.5 kilos, Northerly 2, and he was up in the weights. Ethereal 2, Diatribe 2, Sky Heights 1.5. They're the last 6 penalties for a Caulfield Cup winner into the Melbourne Cup. I presume minimum you're going to get here is 1.5 for Railings. He started off obviously at 52.
I would think so. I can't imagine he would get any less. That's an authoritative win. 11 times we've seen the Caulfield Cup winner go on to win the Melbourne Cup, but I think more significantly 4 times in the past 14 years. It's become quite common rather than rare.
Okay, let's hear from Lee.
Showed little potential, and being a Zabeel, we thought he'd improve as he got older, and I've had it in the back of my mind for about 18 months, hoping that he would get to this level. You never really know where they are going to, but the gut feeling said he would, but he's really put it together, this preparation, with maturity.
You need a little bit of luck in races like this. Greg Childs right.
Connections have carried on to this day today.
Greg, what about the Melbourne Cup with Railings?
Well, he hit the line so strong. There's just no doubt that he'll run 2 miles. It's all about whether towards the Melbourne Cup. He's well within his reach.
All right, Greg, you stay with us. All right, Greg, you stay with us runs, but none more so than Like a Falcon.
Well, absolutely. His performance was quite extraordinary. They didn't go hard, as we mentioned earlier, in this Caulfield Cup, about 1:16, first 1200. He's run home in around 57, 11 seconds, the quickest last 200 of the day. At the end of a 2,400 metre race, his performance was phenomenal. And certainly the Japanese horse, iPopper, he was great. He covered ground. Now, a lot of people are going to be a little...
The outside, that's Craig Williams riding along, and just they ran the last furlong in 11.02 off one of the fast 2,400 metre race.
This is in the straight now. He's going past Plastered, and Plastered was a little bit down, wasn't he? Wasn't he really looking for the 3,200 metres? He passes him there. That's our Segundo back on the fence with Darren Gauci. Just got held up in a little traffic at the top of the straight. Natural Blitz ran out of his skin. He is a winner over the 2,400 metres.
Here's the head on.
He's got a card up his sleeve to have him peaking for the Melbourne Cup. But the Japanese runner was the best Melbourne Cup trial I've ever seen.
An outstanding performance. What about Like a Falcon?
good run, really good run. But if he hadn't have zipped home, he'd have been disappointing because he had a complete bludge to the turn. I think he got to the outside pretty reasonably. And if you don't run home under those circumstances, you're disappointing. Having said that, the way he hit the line, Flemington will certainly suit him. And beside the Japanese horse, both Railings and the horse you speak of from Corowa, are both top-class trials.
He's got that racing career yesterday of Mummify. He went with an ace of winning his second Caulfield Cup, and Lee Freedman joins us now. Lee, I think the last time I saw you cry on a racetrack was when Damien Oliver won his Melbourne Cup on media puzzle. That meant a lot to you, but yesterday I saw you with a tear in your eye, and obviously Mummify meant so much to you.
Well, he did, Bruce. You know, as I've constantly said since yesterday, the horse was he was pivotal to putting our new training setup on the map. It was the first major winner we had from there, you know, Group 1 winner, and he did a mega. I think if we'd have drawn a gate, we'd have taken some running down. Unfortunately,
Lee, he's done a sesamoid, and the veterinary advice is they can't save him, but you're going to give him a special place in the Freedman family history. Yes, he's deserved his place as a 5-time, you know, Group 1 winner and a much-loved horse around the stable. And as of last night, with his earnings in the Caulfield Cup, he's gone into the elite company of the top 10 stakes earners of all time in Australia. So he's earned his place. He'll be. In fact, as we speak, he's being buried near Scalacci.
G'day, Lee. Simon. Well, remember was to you.
Yes, Graham. He's a warhorse, Mummify. It's not a good morning for our stable because he was the flag bearer. He was the horse that sort of put Lee back on the map after he moved to Markdale, and you know, the news hasn't been good about him the last 24 hours. They wanted to put him down on the track yesterday. He smashed his sesamoid in a number of places, and it's a very, very serious injury, and they wanted to put him down, and Lee said he wouldn't let him put him down after doing that, you know, after doing what he did in the Caulfield Cup. So he was taken to the hospital, and they you know, made sure he was comfortable overnight. But this morning, I don't think the news is good. We'll have...
It was a matter of money achieving the objective. We would have spent nearly anything to save him, but the nature of injuries and illnesses and that are such that sometimes there's just nothing you can do, and that was the case here.
Can you just...
Video? No, for me, that when I returned to the enclosure, walked back around from getting the horse off the hospital, that the presentation was going on for the Caulfield Cup, and typical of horse people, the Hawks, you know, Jenny and John and Wayne all came over to me and wanted to know about the horse. They weren't that interested in the presentation, so that sums it up, I think.
It certainly does, mate. Okay, thanks, Lee.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us, mate. How'd you go fair yesterday?
Yeah, I was okay. I won, but I feel like I lost. A brilliant ride by Greg Childs on Railings. They tell me Damien Oliver had to talk to iPopper's jockey Shinji Fujita. What language was he talking? Swahili. It's got me buggered.
Yes. Yes, it ran a mighty race, didn't it? Now, the runner-up, iPopper.
That was an eye-popper.
That was an outstanding performance. He jumped from barrier 9, he sat 4 deep, no cover the whole way. He moved up, had the hide to look the winner with 50 metres to go, and he was just a sitting shot. Obviously, he's got 2-mile form, and he's got to be in the market for the Melbourne Cup.
He's won up to 3,000 metres in Japan. He's got a great record. His last half a dozen starts, he hasn't been out of a place. He ran in the Tenno Show, which is the race that Makybe Diva ran in. He gave Makybe Diva weight and beat her home. And if she ran in the Melbourne Cup and he runs in the Melbourne Cup, he's going to be in receipt of 4 kilos from her on Melbourne Cup Day. He's going to be a huge chance because he doesn't get a penalty for what he did.
Was he flattered on a rock-hard track? Do they have real hard tracks in Japan?
Oh, yeah, the tracks in Japan are hard, but who's to say they're not going to be firm at Flemington as well?
Yeah.
So
well, Dermot's coming. They'll get some water.
Dermot's already started that, by the way.
You know what? I should have had a heart attack if he was at Caulfield yesterday.
I spoke to Dermot, and like a Falcon, you mentioned him, he ran his last 400 metres. Like a Falcon, you mentioned him, he ran his last 400 metres in 22.43. That was almost as fast as the sprinters in the 1,100 metre dodo. And he ran his last 200 metres in 11.02. It's just about the fastest last 200 of the day after running 2,400 metres. It was a phenomenal run. What caught your eye, Anthony, in the Cup was... Which one would you want if you had your choice?
Oh, like a Falcon. I mean, he's going to be lightly weighted in the Melbourne Cup. I mean, given that he gets in, he'll be very hard to beat.
Well, he's got 50 kilos with that penalty the other day, Anthony, but he's still number 40 order of entry. As I said earlier, they're not going to get a run, so they're going to have to rely on 16 horses to come out to gain a start.
The clear favourite, Makybe Diva, $4. You can get better in some places. Railings, $5. $7.50 with Michael Scandal. Like a Falcon, $6. Number 40 on the order of entry, Like a Falcon. Plastered, $8. Moderate or something, I think. Couldn't get him out of the...
top marker,
Chats and fashion marketing. There's a second page there, some of the... 40 in Melbourne. God's Own, $6. You can get 7 there. Excellent, $7. Lad of the Manor, $9. I know one shop's betting $13 in Melbourne. A Scander's there. Fields of Omar going for his 4th Cox Plate in a row. That's a great achievement. Tomorrow Gray's in. He's going to miss the Breakfast with the Stars, and I think he's right in the mix. Hotel Grand, the 3-year-old, $15. Super Kid, $17.